Vol 2, Chapter 302, Plagueis Research, Part 2. Darth Plagueis made a keen observation regarding the prophecy of the Chosen One, suggesting that this individual might not necessarily be the savior of the Jedi Knights. Contrary to the Jedi Order's belief that the imbalance in the Force stemmed from the dark side's power, Plagueis argued that the imbalance was more closely related to the Jedi Order itself. Tang Xiao, observing from the perspective of an outsider with knowledge of the entire saga, couldn't help but admire Plagueis' insight. For someone deeply entrenched in the conflict, such a high level of judgment and foresight was indeed remarkable. Plagueis' primary focus was on mastering the manipulation of midi-chlorians to achieve resurrection and immortality. His achievements were nothing short of astonishing, having successfully resurrected individuals shortly after their death. The skeletal remains Tang Xiao encountered on the altar belonged to Darth Venomous, a former apprentice of Plagueis who sought revenge for the murder of their master. After being defeated, Venomous became a subject of Plagueis' experiments, enduring repeated cycles of death and resurrection over more than a decade, thus providing invaluable data for Plagueis' research. During Tang Xiao's meditation on the altar, he inadvertently absorbed the last remnants of Venomous consciousness with his power of death, effectively annihilating his soul. Through these experiments on Venomous, who was a potent Force-sensitive individual, Plagueis made significant advancements in understanding the life force and experimented with midi-chlorian transfer. He discovered that replacing Venomous's midi-chlorian-rich blood with that of a non-Force-sensitive person resulted in the loss of Venomous Force abilities and eventual death. However, reintroducing his original blood restored his powers. Interestingly, attempting to replace his blood with that of another Force-sensitive individual led to severe rejection and death, regardless of blood type compatibility. Venomous's tragic fate as a test subject underscored the dark path Plagueis tread in his quest for knowledge. Yet, Plagueis' research did not end there. He delved into the realm of essence transfer, a technique considered one of the most horrifying and taboo among the Sith. This technique, created by Darth Ondedu, the immortal God King of Prakith, allowed a Sith to transfer their consciousness and power into a new body through the dark side of the Force, achieving a form of immortality. Obsessed with this ancient technology, Plagueis sought to uncover the secrets of Darth Ondedu's holographic memory, which had been lost to time. Despite enlisting the help of Darth Sidious, the research hit a dead end, forcing Sidious to withdraw due to political machinations within the Galactic Council. Tang Xiao smirked at this revelation. He knew that despite withdrawing, Darth Sidious remained fixated on the essence transfer technique, going so far as to create numerous clones of himself in pursuit of eternal life. However, such endeavors often yielded less than satisfactory results. Tang Xiao found the concept of essence transfer intriguing, recognizing its potential not just for immortality, but for unimaginable power. Tang Xiao marveled at the concept of achieving a perfect body, a notion that seemed to transcend mere physical appearance or structure. It extended to the very essence of one's being, down to the density of fibrils within the body. This pursuit of perfection reminded him of Darth Plagueis' endeavors. Plagueis, a figure shrouded in the annals of history, had delved into the mysteries of life creation by manipulating these fibrils, aiming to craft an ideal vessel for himself. Tang Xiao was privy to a crucial piece of information. Although Darth Ondedu had perished, his soul lingered, preserved within the echoes of his holographic memory. However, Tang Xiao hesitated to seek out this remnant. His own abilities, closely tied to the power of death, made him acutely aware of the risks involved. Engaging with the spirits of ancient Sith Lords, beings of immense power, was a gamble he wasn't ready to take. The fear of death, or worse, held him back. Darth Plagueis' writings also detailed a journey to the planet Korriban, a name that resonated with dark significance. Korriban was revered as the cradle of the Sith, housing both their academy and the final resting place of countless Sith emperors. The Valley of the Dark Lords, a site within Korriban, was particularly notorious. It was said to be haunted by the spirits of Sith emperors, their souls eternally restless, lying in wait for the living to claim their bodies for rebirth. While such an eventuality was unlikely to lead to true resurrection, It posed a lethal threat to any who dared venture into the valley. Plagueis' own expedition to the Valley of the Dark Lords was driven by curiosity. He sought to confirm the existence of the legendary Sith Emperor's spirit. His explorations led him to the tombs of Sith Emperors Hakagram Glaush and Thorza Sian, but to no avail. Just as he was about to abandon his search, he was confronted by the spirit of Sith Emperor Malka Ragnos. Rather than offering insights, Malka Ragnos berated Plagueis, accusing him of dishonoring the traditions of Korriban and tarnishing the legacy of the Sith ancestors. Despite the rebuke, an undeterred Plagueis bombarded Malka Ragnos with questions, driven by a thirst for knowledge. The fall of the Sith Empire had resulted in the loss of countless studies on the dark side of the Force, and Plagueis was desperate for answers. However, Malka Ragnos dismissed him, leaving Plagueis to question his own understanding of life and death. This encounter, though disheartening, was meticulously documented by Plagueis, who concluded that the existence of life after death was a fallacy, and that the entity before him was nothing more than a vestige of will, incapable of meaningful communication. The manuscripts of Darth Plagueis were a treasure trove of knowledge, covering topics as vast as the manipulation of time and space and the possibilities of life beyond death. For Tang Xiao, delving into these writings was an eye-opening experience, offering glimpses into the boundless potential of the Force and the dark ambitions of those who sought to master it. Attachment 1 of the Easter Egg Chapter, The Immortal King of Plagueis, Darth Anderdu. Vol 2, Chapter 303, The Development of Civilization, Part 1. As Tang Xiao delved into the profound knowledge of Darth Plagueis with eagerness, the Fourth Civilization was experiencing a rapid phase of development. The population of Dawn Planet had surged to 2 million, prompting a swift expansion that led to the formation of 5 new cities. Including some Ewok settlements and smaller industrial and agricultural towns, the total count of administrative residential areas on Dawn Planet had reached 40. The administrative division of the planet was becoming increasingly detailed, with a plethora of middle and lower management positions being created to ensure meticulous management of each city. The previously established cities of Early Dew, Winter, Gumi, and Truth were grouped into the Ursa's region. Meanwhile, the 5 newly expanded cities to the north of Dawn City, Silver Ash City, Yaxin City, First Snow City, Jiaofeng City, and Messenger City, were categorized under the Kalan region. These 2 regions established regional administrative agencies to oversee the macro management of urban development and planning within their domains. In the Kalan region, Jiaofeng City emerged as an industrial hub nestled in the mountains, while Messenger City became a settlement for the Ewoks. Silver Ash City, situated near a high-latitude area, boasted a relatively cold climate but offered flat terrain conducive to habitation. The discovery of a gem mine nearby hinted at its potential to become a prosperous city in the future. In terms of population expansion, social adoption policies were widely implemented, with every resident taking in at least 1 frozen embryo. These embryos had now grown into teenagers and were expected to reach adulthood in 2 years. Their period of rapid growth would then conclude, and they would be integrated into society. Thanks to the installation of knowledge during their sleep state, these teenagers, despite their general rigidity, had achieved considerable IQ levels. This approach to social upbringing ensured that these individuals were born as real people, not mere robot-like existences. However, the rate of population growth was deemed too slow, especially since the Ministry of Agriculture of the Fourth Civilization had largely resolved the food scarcity issue. Consequently, under Tang Xiao's directive, Chief Executive Daphne Clement initiated a pilot project. She designated a vast area west of Dawn City as the Rhine Life Zone, which currently housed only 1 city named Syria City. In Syria City, 500,000 frozen embryos were cared for daily by robots, and their education was overseen by human teachers in a large school. The city operated with only 5,000 human personnel, significantly conserving the civilization's valuable human resources. If the Syria City model proved successful, the Rhine Life Zone would replicate this model to construct more cities, thereby accelerating population growth. The Ministry of Agriculture had adopted agricultural concentration technology on a large scale, incorporating genetically modified technology to reduce the maturity period of some major crops to 2 months. Furthermore, climate and ecological simulation technology was employed in major concentrated agricultural areas to provide crops with optimal growth conditions, enhancing yield and quality. In the latest quarter, Dawn Planet's total crop output had exceeded 500 million tons, a figure achieved in just one season. Consequently, Dawn Planet was not only self-sufficient in food, but also had substantial reserves, enabling it to export food. The export served as capital for Claire Underwood in the Mutual Aid South. The Fourth Civilization, in its quest for political influence, has strategically allocated the aid fund of the Outer Ring sector. This move not only aims to secure political leverage, but also to bolster support from the planet, Celia, amidst its civil war, thereby increasing Celia's dependency on the planet of Dawn. To streamline foreign trade operations, the Fourth Civilization has established an independent foreign ad company. This initiative is designed to separate the Fourth Civilization from the Fourth Group, granting the latter more operational freedom. Moreover, the Foreign Trade Company is tasked with meticulous planning and investment in the Fourth Civilization's foreign trade endeavors. Currently, the development of large-scale warships by the Fourth Civilization has hit a standstill. The ongoing large-scale warship projects are, in reality, collaborative efforts with external forces. For instance, the Apocalypse-class light cruiser is a joint venture between Higla Aerospace and the Semirs, while the Higla-class battlecruiser is developed in collaboration with both the Trade Alliance and the Technology Alliance. Despite these partnerships, the Fourth Civilization has cleverly managed to maintain control over most of the technology in Homeland. This strategic maneuver allows Chijianjin's scientific research team to concentrate on analyzing the Empire of the Sun and the original Sin technology tree, with a particular focus on antimatter energy research and development. In an outer space orbit, a large-scale physical experiment space station houses a prototype of an antimatter engine with further experiments currently underway. The goal is to deploy the antimatter engine within a year. Additionally, the Fourth Civilization is embarking on an ambitious project, a planetary supercomputer. Although termed planetary, this supercomputer will be housed within a large space station, purportedly for storage purposes. In reality, it will consist of a network of super-quantum computer arrays. Once operational, this supercomputer will significantly enhance the computational capabilities of Dawn Planet, which has previously relied on the main brain of the Glory Mothership, albeit with less than ideal efficiency. Furthermore, scientists are set to conduct a preliminary analysis of the main brain technology on the Glory Mothership, which is also documented in the database. This technology, a neural network computer with a human core, combines human intuition with the computational power of a supercomputer. This blend allows for a computing system that retains a degree of human nature, making it potentially more efficient or faster than quantum computers in certain applications. In the future, this neural network supercomputer technology could be programmed into management AI to assist with the administrative affairs of various industries, offering a more nuanced approach due to its human-like elements. In contrast, quantum computers are deemed more suitable for scientific computations. The Dawn Planet has also seen the initial construction of a global energy network, complete with technology capable of long-distance wireless power transmission through force field constraints. This innovation ensures that any location on Dawn Planet can access the planet-wide energy network, marking a significant advancement in the civilization's infrastructure and technological capabilities. Vol 2, Chapter 304, The Development of Civilization, Part 2. With a comprehensive power network established across the planet, the Fourth Civilization embarked on another ambitious project, the construction of robots. Thanks to the Fourth Group's strong alliances with the Trade Union and the Interstellar Banking Association, coupled with their advanced robot-related technologies, they opted not to develop a new robot model. Instead, they acquired 10 million B-1 robots from the Interstellar Banking Association. Of these, only 2 million were programmed for combat and are currently stored in an underground base. The remaining 8 million robots, programmed for engineering and civilian tasks such as firefighting, public security, construction, and logistics, have played a significant role in the civilization's rapid development. There are even models designed as nannies, tasked with caring for the growth of frozen embryos. Within just over a year, the Fourth Civilization managed to construct 5 large cities and more than 20 small towns, a feat that would have been impossible with their construction teams alone, despite their widespread use of SCVs. However, the Scientific Research Department of the Fourth Civilization did not rest on its laurels. They embarked on a series of modifications to the B-1 robots, enhancing their ability to operate SCVs and optimizing their intelligent algorithms. This led to the establishment of a dedicated department for the study of intelligent robots, which soon initiated a mysterious project under the guidance of 2 master-level scientists, known only as the G Project. Its details remained a closely guarded secret, but it was clear that it involved advancements in robot technology. After 6 months of intense research, the project team achieved a breakthrough with the development of a synaptic network, which was implemented in the B-1 robots on the planet Dawn. This technology allowed the robots to upload their operational data to a synaptic node for data sharing. If a task proved too complex for a single B-1 robot, additional computing power from idle robots could be harnessed through the synaptic node to assist in the computation. This innovation significantly enhanced the efficiency and capabilities of the B-1 robots across Dawn, addressing their previous limitations in computing power and operational efficiency. In parallel, the Energetics Department, led by Guan Yan, made significant strides in fundamental physics. Building on the foundation of blue laser technology, they developed an ultraviolet laser weapon with a shorter wavelength, resulting in greater concentration and destructive power. Despite the gap in destructive capability compared to traditional laser and explosive weapons, the ultraviolet laser's speed of light operation and lack of need for explosive gases made it an excellent choice for point defense applications. The field of materials science also saw remarkable progress, with the successful application of nanomaterials that boasted hardness and ductility more than 100 times that of ordinary steel. This breakthrough has been widely adopted in spacecraft construction. Meanwhile, materials scientist Qu Shewen returned to her specialty, leading a team in the pursuit of tri-titanium alloys, a material documented in the EV database. The challenge lay in finding suitable substitutes for some materials not available in the Star Wars universe, requiring extensive research and comparison. However, the potential benefits of successfully developing tri-titanium alloys were immense, promising to revolutionize material science within the Fourth Civilization. The tri-titanium alloy represents a significant advancement in materials science, particularly for the construction of space-based structures and spacecraft. This material boasts superior energy barrier properties, along with toughness and hardness that surpass those of current nanomaterials. Moreover, it remains cost-effective. The only drawback is its violent reaction with oxygen, rendering it unsuitable for atmospheric entry on planets. However, this limitation is negligible, given that space is the primary environment for its application. Until the development of molecular-level materials, tri-titanium alloys are poised to become the cornerstone of spacecraft construction for the Fourth Civilization. A pivotal factor behind these scientific breakthroughs is the introduction of a device inspired by the Mass Effect universe, the Omni tool. This versatile tool integrates the functionalities of a personal terminal, a processing tool, an analysis detection device, and even a melee weapon. It operates as a semi-energy body equipment, capable of altering its shape according to preset programs. Typically compact, resembling a generator worn on the wrist, it can expand to cover the entire palm when activated. The Omni tool significantly enhances the efficiency of scientists and technicians, facilitating data access, networking, and parts processing with ease. It can also transform into a melee weapon or a shield, embodying a multifunctional device that caters to a wide range of applications. The adoption of Omni tools has notably boosted the productivity of the Fourth Civilization in both research and manufacturing sectors by an estimated 10% to 20%. Tang Xiao, envisioning the current state of the fourth civilization, recognizes the importance of maintaining stability amidst the chaos of the Milky Way. He understands that the primary disparity between his civilization and the Galactic Republic lies not in technology, but in scale, population, resource output, and industrial capacity. Premature military expansion would not only fail to bridge this gap, but could also hinder their own development. This rationale underpins Tang Xiao's prohibition against the development of large spaceships, opting instead for a strategy of cautious accumulation and technological advancement. Despite this restraint, the fourth civilization has not halted its military expansion. It has laid extensive groundwork in military technology, with breakthroughs in ultraviolet lasers and the aforementioned materials being just one facet of its advancements. The civilization has also enhanced its military capabilities in numerous subtle ways. For instance, the standard military uniform has been upgraded to the light combat uniform featured in Mass Effect. Made from a polymer material, this uniform is comfortable, form-fitting, and durable. It offers protection against shrapnel cuts and can safeguard the wearer in the vacuum of space and low-temperature environments. Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter. The Omni tool in Mass Effect, as seen glowing on the protagonist's left hand. Attachment 2 of the Easter egg chapter. The combat uniforms featured in Mass Effect. Vol 2 Chapter 305, The Development of Civilization, Part 2. To further enhance the military capabilities of the Army, 3 new individual weapons have been introduced, all inspired by the Mass Effect universe. These include the M5 Phalanx pistol and the M29 Mantis sniper rifle. To address the shortfall in anti-armor firepower, the research team has developed the M41 SSR dual-mounted rocket launcher, a formidable weapon from the Halo series. This launcher fires 102mm caliber heat-shaped armor-piercing projectiles capable of delivering devastating damage to armored units. Its unique feature is the ability to launch 2 rockets simultaneously, providing an enhanced capability against tough targets. However, its size is a drawback, limiting the user to carrying only 6 spare rockets and a pistol for self-defense. Additionally, several armored vehicles from Tyron Heavy Industries have been put into production, including the Vulture Chariot and the giant mecha from Starcraft. The Vulture Chariot outperforms the SATP individual weapon platform from the Star Wars universe in terms of speed and firepower, despite being slightly less agile. The giant mecha, although smaller and less powerful than the AT-RT all-terrain combat platform developed by the Galactic Republic, boasts superior anti-air capabilities. Its precision fire control and locking system, along with the effectiveness of Hellfire long-range scattering missiles, make it a formidable adversary to air units. With these advancements, the army of the Fourth Civilization has expanded to a force of 10,000, not including the 1.9 million B-1 battle robots and 100,000 B-2 super battle robots that have been sealed. These are also considered part of the military establishment. Additionally, there is the secret establishment of the Fourth Army by Tang Xiao, unknown to Army Commander Xiao Guanghua. Commander Xiao Guanghua, however, has found particular delight in the Banshee fighter, a specialized atmospheric fighter with a turbo-ducted engine produced by Tyron Heavy Industries. Part of the Starcraft technology tree, it is currently undergoing test flights and is expected to possess comprehensive strike capabilities against both air and ground targets. In the realm of space warfare, while the construction and development of large warships have been paused, research and technical preparations continue. The goal is to eventually mass-produce warships from the Sins of a Solar Empire technology tree. Some smaller warships have already been developed and incorporated into the Fourth Civilization Navy. Among these are 2 light frigates, the Shuttle Dart-class corvette and the Shrike-class corvette. Although essentially the same model, they are outfitted with different weaponry. Measuring 35 meters in length and manned by a crew of 10, these frigates are armed with 2 laser cannons, 2 small close-in weapon systems, and a missile launcher, making their firepower formidable. Additionally, each class has its unique weapon. The Shuttle Dart class can weaken the molecular structure of a target's armor, while the Shrike class can impair an opponent's engine output, reducing their speed. However, these special weapons have no effect on shields. The Shuttle Dart and Mangan-class light frigates, despite being categorized as such, sacrifice atmospheric combat capabilities for unparalleled maneuverability, making them as agile as fighter jets. This trait, emblematic of the Emergency Trader Alliance tech spaceships in Original Sin of the Empire of the Sun, renders these frigates a formidable force. They outmaneuver fighters, outrun other frigates, and possess defenses that close-range fire may struggle to penetrate. Remarkably, these light frigates can dock in the hangars of larger aircraft carriers, allowing them to stealthily approach and deliver devastating blows to enemy warships under the protection of fighter jets. In fleet battles, where large battleships sometimes rely on their shields for full firepower deployment, these shields do not always encompass the entire ship. The Shuttle Dart and Mangan classes excel in exploiting these vulnerabilities, embodying the primary battleship adversaries in the early stages of Original Sin of the Empire of the Sun. According to future space combat theories prioritizing aircraft carriers, these light frigates perfectly complement such strategies. Once they engage an enemy's main ship, it quickly becomes a sitting duck, unable to escape or effectively defend itself. Should the Galactic Republic continue its tradition of deploying chaser-class battlecruisers in single-arm formations, these light frigates would significantly challenge their tactics. Additionally, the Fourth Civilization introduces two more vessels to its fleet, the Javelin-class heavy-guided missile frigate and the Valkyrie-class light-guided missile frigate, both from tech in Original Sin of the Empire of the Sun. The Javelin class, a 65-meter-long ship with a crew of 20, is primarily armed with two long-range missile launchers, now upgraded with powerful fusion nuclear missiles. These missiles, propelled by nuclear fusion engines, can accelerate over 1,000 gi and have a maximum range exceeding 10 light minutes. Although such distances typically render them vulnerable to interception, their saturation fire capabilities make them lethal to capital ships like the Galactic Republic's Chaser-class battlecruisers during the Clone Wars. The Valkyrie class, inspired by Starcraft, is a smaller, 33-meter-long and 13-meter-high warship capable of atmospheric combat. Its arsenal, including the formidable H-Halo cluster missiles, provides extensive firepower coverage, making it effective against both enemy fighter formations and ground forces. However, both guided missile frigates have clear strengths and weaknesses. The Javelin class suffers from slow speed and minimal armor and shielding, while the Valkyrie class, despite its robust armor, is also slow and serves primarily as a heavy firepower platform. The Fourth Civilization's military hardware, characterized by these distinct advantages and disadvantages, showcases a strategic diversity that leverages both agility and firepower to maintain a competitive edge in interstellar warfare. In the intricate world of magical and technological warfare, Tang Xiao had meticulously prepared his strategy to confront the formidable galaxy. Understanding the battlefield's complexity, he knew that each weapon and piece of equipment had its unique advantages and disadvantages. However, he also recognized that the true strength lay in the synergy of these diverse elements. By orchestrating the cooperation of various arms, he aimed to unleash a devastating force capable of tipping the scales in their favor. This strategic integration of resources was Tang Xiao's ace up his sleeve, a masterstroke he was ready to deploy in the epic showdown against the galaxy. To give a glimpse into the arsenal at Tang Xiao's disposal, this chapter introduces two key pieces of equipment, with the promise of revealing more as the story unfolds. The first piece of equipment, as detailed in Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter, is the Starcraft giant mecha. This towering behemoth of technology stands as a testament to the advanced engineering and magical prowess that Tang Xiao's forces wield. Equipped with an array of weapons and protected by nearly impenetrable armor, the giant mecha is a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Its presence alone can change the tide of battle, making it a crucial component of Tang Xiao's strategy. Following closely is the second piece of equipment, outlined in Attachment 2 of the Easter egg chapter, the Starcraft Vulture Chariot. This swift and agile vehicle offers a stark contrast to the imposing might of the giant mecha. Designed for rapid maneuvers and reconnaissance, the Vulture chariot excels in hit-and-run tactics and battlefield surveillance. Its speed and agility make it an invaluable asset for gathering intelligence and exploiting weaknesses in the enemy's defenses. Together, these two pieces of equipment exemplify the diverse and complementary nature of Tang Xiao's arsenal. By leveraging the unique capabilities of each, he plans to orchestrate a symphony of destruction against the galaxy, showcasing the power of unity and strategic foresight in the face of overwhelming odds. Vol 2, Chapter 306, Queen Amidala. In the heart of the Milky Way, on the planet Naboo, lies its capital city, Sid. This beautiful city, nestled on a picturesque planet, was currently enveloped in a shower of flowers. Colorful banners danced in the breeze, the air was filled with the sound of drums and music, and the night sky was lit up by a myriad of fireworks. The citizens had taken to the streets, covering Central Street in Sid City with petals as they cheered and laughed, all chanting the same name in unison, Queen Amidala. Leading a grand parade down the central street, a young girl, radiant as a blooming flower, stood atop a vehicle. Surrounded by a cascade of flowers, she exuded grace and innocence, smiling and waving to the gathered crowd. After 7 months of preparation and elections following the retirement and disappearance of Naboo's former king, Ars Varuna, the planet had finally chosen its new ruler, or more accurately, its queen, Padme Naberi. Esteemed elders adorned Padme Naberi with makeup symbolizing supreme authority and placed a magnificent crown upon her head, heralding the arrival of Naboo's new monarch. This 14-year-old prodigy had earned an unparalleled reputation among Naboo's populace. From a young age, she had immersed herself in the study of law, entering the Heed City legislature at the tender age of 8. 3 years later, she graduated top of her class and became an official legislator. Furthermore, she dedicated herself to various charitable and refugee relief efforts, traveling to every impoverished corner of Naboo to bring aid and comfort to those suffering under King Varuna's inept governance. Padme had always aspired to be a politician, believing that it was through politics she could make the most significant impact. In pursuit of this goal, she made the difficult decision to part ways with her second love, a deeply cherished artist named Ian Largo. Naboo's unique monarchical electoral system saw Padme, a member of the Naberi family, being elected princess and a candidate for the throne at the age of 13, shortly before King Ars Varuna's conspiracy against Hego Damask II. From that day, she was known as Princess Amidala. Following King Ars Varuna's departure and the chaos he left behind, many hoped Padme Naberi would step forward to claim the throne and lead Naboo into a brighter future. Initially hesitant due to her youth, Padme's resolve was strengthened by the support of Naboo counselor Shiv Palpatine, who frequently attended her charity events and contributed to her poverty alleviation fund. Palpatine's encouragement, hinting that she alone could save the troubled planet, ultimately convinced Padme to pursue the throne. The election brought no surprises. With widespread support from both commoners and nobility, Padme Naberi easily outshone her competitors and was elected Queen of Naboo. Upon her ascension, she continued to be known by her royal title, Queen Amidala. Immediately after her election, Padme set about fulfilling her promises. She vowed to return power to the people, citing the disastrous reign of Ars Varuna as evidence of the dangers posed by a lifelong monarchy. Consequently, she amended the constitution to limit the monarch's term to 5 years, with the possibility of a single re-election. Given that Queen Amidala was the second youngest monarch in Naboo's history, her cabinet took extensive measures to ensure her safety. She was surrounded by a group of maids, all friends from her childhood, who had undergone rigorous training to serve as her bodyguards, spies, and even as political decoys. Amidst these precautions, Padme herself remained a figure shrouded in mystery, her true strength hidden from the public eye. The maid corps, while appearing to consist of ordinary maids, included one who stood out with heavy makeup, a crown, and a Chinese dress. This was not the queen herself, but her stand-in, a maid named Sabe. It's a truth universally acknowledged that even the kindest and noblest of individuals can find themselves tainted by the shadows of power, or once they ascend to a throne. Queen Amidala, faced with mounting internal and external challenges, began to navigate her way through these treacherous waters with careful deliberation. Her first move was to reach out to the Gungans, aiming to mend the strained relations between them. She promised to curb the overexploitation of plasma mines, a gesture intended to protect the Gungans' habitat. Following this, Queen Amidala initiated negotiations with the Trade Federation, adopting a humble stance in hopes of persuading them to reconsider the unfair treaty previously signed under King Ars Varuna's reign. She explained to Governor Newt Gunray that the continuation of such unequal agreements would not only undermine Naboo's governance, but could also spark a war between humans and Gungans. Given that the Gungan population, residing in the planet's waters, outnumbered the human residents by more than twice, close to 3 billion, a conflict would likely spiral out of control. Such a war would also jeopardize the Trade Federation's plasma ore output. Amidala proposed that renegotiating the treaty could pave the way for a more equitable and mutually beneficial partnership between Naboo and the Trade Federation. However, during the negotiation, it became clear that the Trade Federation had no real interest in dialogue. Sabe, posing as Queen Amidala, delivered her message with sincerity, but Padme, observing from among the maids, noticed Governor Gunray's increasingly cold demeanor. After the first day of talks, Gunray dismissively stated that the Trade Federation's interests on Naboo were non-negotiable, before abruptly departing for the Golden Nice shipyard. There, he met with Gross Shelby, a representative of the Fourth Group, and showed great enthusiasm for the analyzed battlecruiser data. Rune Hako, left to continue the negotiations in Gunray's absence, lacked the boldness of his superior but maintained a similarly inflexible stance. He insisted that unless Naboo could propose new terms that would not diminish the Trade Federation's benefits compared to the current unfair treaties, the status quo would remain unchanged. Note 1. Indeed, before her fateful meeting with Anakin Skywalker, Padme experienced 2 romantic relationships and faced significant personal milestones. Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter, Queen Amidala Disguise. Vol 2, Chapter 307, Teaching and Experimenting. In the underground secret laboratory on Abora Island, planet Murinster, the air was thick with the scent of cold metal and antiseptic. This was the domain of Hago Damask II, also known as Darth Plagueis. Amidst the sterile environment, a human man was strapped to an operating table, his body a canvas for the dark experiments conducted here. The new queen of planet Naboo has been elected, Darth Plagueis remarked, his voice devoid of emotion as he manipulated the Force to act upon the man. Amidst the subject's agonized howls, a tumor began to grow on his body, and within moments, an eye opened on the tumor. Plagueis, unfazed by the grotesque transformation, continued his conversation with Tang Xiao. That little girl named Padme, I doubt she possesses the capability to lead the planet of Naboo forward. This presents us with an excellent opportunity to expose the folly of their former king to the naive citizens of Naboo. Tang Xiao sneered, his disdain palpable. Everything is proceeding as planned. Darth Sidious will support Padme as a counselor of Naboo, then persuade her to annul the agreement with the Trade Federation. She will have no choice but to comply, as it will garner her more support from the populace. However, this negotiation will provide Newt Gunray with the pretext he needs, Darth Plagueis explained, his voice calm and measured. If my predictions are correct, she has already initiated negotiations, Tang Xiao commented, his tone light yet carrying an undercurrent of seriousness. Indeed, Newt Gunray has begun assembling his fleet, expected to launch in half a year, Plagueis confirmed. Half a year? Is such a lengthy preparation necessary? Tang Xiao frowned, puzzled by the delay. The galaxy has been at peace for so long that the art of war has been forgotten. Newt Gunray must consult his military advisors on how to organize the fleet effectively. Moreover, the Trade Federation's current warships, primarily converted cargo ships, are severely inadequate, Plagueis explained, gesturing dismissively. I would like to deploy some of the newly developed spaceships from the Fourth Group to participate in this battle. They require field testing. Tang Xiao proposed, his interest in the conflict more practical than political. Arrange it with Newt Gunray when the time comes. He is already enthralled by the battlecruiser blueprints you provided. I must admit, I am curious about the source of such meticulously designed ships. Where did you acquire them? Plagueis inquired, his curiosity piqued. In our computer database, there's a complete fleet design blueprint, encompassing various destroyers, drone carriers, aircraft carriers, and more. Over 40 designs of large and small warships, including a scaled-down blueprint of that massive mothership, Tang Xiao replied, his expression neutral. He was prepared for this question, ready to divulge all the Homeland series battleship data if necessary, a perfect diversion. I find myself increasingly curious about your origins. A company with such advanced battleship designs couldn't possibly remain obscure. The Higra-class battlecruiser's design is clearly battle-tested. It leads me to believe that the mothership you mentioned is not from this galaxy. Plagueis mused, his force presence subtly probing Tang Xiao's thoughts. Tang Xiao remained composed, responding, Indeed, discovering my origins is among my goals. If a place capable of creating such a colossal mothership exists, it likely harbors even more valuable secrets. Darth Plagueis observed Tang Xiao, sensing his emotions and smiling with satisfaction. He then gestured towards the experimental subject on the table. Show me the results of your recent studies. Regarding this tumor, you'll first need to use fibrils to create a nutrient delivery channel, and then, Tang Xiao utilized the knowledge he had acquired from Darth Plagueis' manuscript to manipulate the force within the experimental subject's body. He aimed to accelerate cell division by drawing in nutrients from the mother cell, ensuring each division was under his perception and control. As he adjusted his force, a new ear began to form on the subject's tumor, leading to the subject's agonized pleas for death amidst unbearable pain. Attempting to establish a connection between his force and the fibrils in the experimental body, Tang Xiao managed to control the subject's lips, causing them to grow and eventually fuse together, rendering the subject unable to scream. Tang Xiao watched with a smug smile as the subject struggled in vain. Darth Plagueis, observing the experiment, commented on the basic nature of the application, but acknowledged its potential. He emphasized the importance of understanding that they were manipulating life itself, though creating an independent life form was still beyond their reach. He encouraged Tang Xiao to continue exploring the force of life. Following Plagueis' guidance, Tang Xiao experimented further, leading to the subject's death. Plagueis then challenged him to revive the subject, stressing the importance of reactivating the brain to achieve true resurrection, not merely reanimation. Tang Xiao attempted to use the force to repair the subject's fatal wounds and reactivate brain function. The subject's heartbeat and brain activity resumed, but there was no further response. The subject lay motionless, indicating the spirit had dissipated. Darth Plagueis, with a hint of regret, noted the subject's potential as a force-sensitive individual, lamenting that the Jedi Order had not discovered him. He mentioned that many force-sensitive individuals served as bodyguards for the Black Sun organization, suggesting Tang Xiao capture a few for further experimentation. Plagueis then reminded Tang Xiao of the limited time available for his training, urging him to master the teachings quickly. He hinted at the impending conflict on the planet Naboo, indicating they would soon be preoccupied with the war. This narrative explores the dark and ethically questionable experiments conducted under the tutelage of Darth Plagueis, highlighting the manipulation of life and death through the Force. Tang Xiao's journey into these dark arts underlines the moral dilemmas and the pursuit of forbidden knowledge within the Star Wars universe. Vol 2, Chapter 308, Tensions Rise in the Galactic Republic. In the heart of the Galactic Republic, the capital planet of Coruscant, signs of a decaying regime are becoming increasingly evident. The Galactic Council, once the pinnacle of authority destined to shape the fate of the galaxy, is now mired in ceaseless disputes. The conflict between the Galactic Republic and the corporate giants has escalated, showing no signs of abating. This discord was brought into the open following the Eliadu Business Summit, where the fragile relationship between the two factions was irrevocably damaged. The crux of their disagreement lies in the Galactic Republic's determination to impose taxes on the Outer Rim territories, a move staunchly opposed by the corporate giants who insist these regions should remain free trade zones. However, this dispute is merely a symptom of a deeper issue. The The Galactic Republic's bureaucracy has become so lax and corrupt that it has lost any semblance of control over the corporate giants, a situation that has been deteriorating for centuries. In response to the Republic's unilateral decision to tax the free trade zones after a terrorist attack at the Eliadu Business Summit, the corporate giants retaliated by tearing up the Russan Agreement. They declared an end to restrictions on warship construction, embarking on the development and retrofitting of large warships, and issued a stark warning about the dire consequences of the Republic's taxation plans. Newt Gunray, seeking some respite from the endless quarrels in Lausanne, traveled to the planet of Naboo for symbolic negotiations. He then visited the Golden Nice shipyard, in collaboration with the Fourth Group, to oversee the development of his future flagship. Despite these distractions, Gunray was haunted by a more pressing concern. In a tense holographic projection meeting, Darth Sidious, shrouded in his cloak, demanded an immediate explanation for the delay in the blockade of Naboo. Gunray, overwhelmed by the dark side's power, pleaded for more time, citing the incomplete conversion of the LH-3010 giant cargo ship into a battleship and the need to marshal his droid army. Darth Sidious, enraged by the delay, used the Force to lift Gunray by the neck, demonstrating his displeasure. When Gunray mentioned the betrayal of his lieutenant, Has Monchar, who had sabotaged their flagship and fled, Sidious demanded immediate action. Gunray, in desperation, revealed he had dispatched 10 bounty hunters, including the formidable Marve Lachine, to capture Monchar. Sidious then revealed a holographic projection of a gruesome scene, a house littered with the bodies of 2 Quarren and a Trandoshan bodyguard, all drenched in blood. In the center, a Nemoidian in fine attire was suspended in midair by an unseen force. His struggles ceased, resigned to his fate. The perpetrator, a red-skinned Zabrak named Darth Maul, sat casually on the windowsill, his dual-bladed red lightsaber by his side, demonstrating the lethal efficiency of the dark side's enforcers. Upon witnessing the unfolding scene, Newt Gunray was struck with the realization that Darth Sidious maintained absolute control over every situation. Overwhelmed by fear, he collapsed to the ground, pleading for mercy. "Please, don't kill me, your lordship. I had no idea Monchar would betray us. I treated him well, yet he repaid me with betrayal. I must avenge this treachery. It was my intention to rectify the situation before it escalated, to spare you any inconvenience." He sold a holographic memory to a businessman named Lorne Pawan for 500,000 credits, Darth Maul interjected calmly. Darth Sidious fixed his gaze on Newt Gunray, demanding what was contained within that memory. Stammering and trembling with fear, Newt Gunray struggled to respond. "Speak!" Darth Sidious thundered, his voice imbued with such force that Gunray was hurled against the wall. The impact was so severe that he crumpled to the ground, unable to rise. It was our scheme to blockade the planet Naboo," Gunray confessed, in utter terror. And recordings of your conversations." "Fool!" Darth Sidious's fury was palpable, even through the communicator. He had not anticipated being undermined by such incompetence. The loss of the memory could not only jeopardize their plans but potentially expose the existence of the Sith prematurely. With a swift motion, Darth Maul's red lightsaber sliced through the air, and the head of the Trade Federation's vice-governor, Has Monchar, was severed, signifying the gravity of the betrayal. "If this issue is not resolved, you will be stripped of your position as the governor of the Trade Federation," Darth Sidious warned, before instructing Darth Maul, "Find that businessman and recover the memory at once." Meanwhile, in Hutt space on the planet Gamo, Tang Xiao had just obliterated a stronghold belonging to the Black Sun. Contrary to their belief in the safety of Hutt space, they were easily located by Darth Plagueis's extensive intelligence network. Tang Xiao, embodying the Grim Reaper, had brought death to their doorstep. As Tang Xiao, holding a Force-sensitive assassin, made his way to his shuttle, his communicator activated. The projection of Darth Plagueis appeared, his face shadowed with fury. "Abandon your current task and immediately pursue a human businessman named Lorne Pawan," Darth Plagueis commanded, barely containing his rage. Without hesitation, Tang Xiao dispatched the assassin with a swift stroke of his lightsaber, discarding the remains. He knelt, pledging his obedience. "Yes, my lord." After ending the communication, Tang Xiao paused to reflect. His mastery of the Force had significantly enhanced his memory and reflexes. A detail previously overlooked now resurfaced in his mind, a clue that could lead him to Lorn Pawan. A smirk crept across his face as he contemplated his next move. Vol 2, Chapter 309, The Dying Person, ×2. When Tang Xiao heard Darth Plagueis announce that the blockade of the planet Naboo would commence in 6 months, he found the timing peculiar. Given that Queen Padme Amidala of Naboo had already engaged in negotiations with the Trade Federation, and Newt Gunray, under Sith orders, had resolved to use Naboo as an example to intimidate the Galactic Republic, the likelihood of successful negotiations seemed slim. If the discussions had indeed failed, why delay the conflict for half a year? Plagueis attributed the delay to Gunray's need to organize his battleship formations, a rationale Tang Xiao dismissed as a flimsy excuse. The idea that the Trade Federation lacked military strategists to plan their fleet formations struck him as absurd. As Tang Xiao pieced together the timeline, he realized the current year was 32 BBY, marking the end of the Naboo Star Wars and the ascension of Sheev Palpatine to the presidency of the Galactic Council. That same night would witness the demise of Darth Plagueis. Tang Xiao was determined to ensure Plagueis's death. Having served as Plagueis's apprentice for 3 years, he had devoted himself to his master, even to the extent of legally transferring ownership of the Fourth Group, an organization he founded, to Plagueis. Tang Xiao understood that if Plagueis were to survive, he would be relegated to a mere vassal, devoid of autonomy or independent thought. This was a fate he was unwilling to accept. To guarantee that Darth Sidious would indeed eliminate his master, Darth Plagueis, Tang Xiao undertook several covert operations. He ensured the Fourth Group's involvement in every insurrection orchestrated by Plagueis and Sidious, regardless of whether his participation was solicited. For instance, during the Injoli riots, despite Plagueis's initial reluctance to involve him, Tang Xiao volunteered his services and even seized control of the Golden Nice shipyard. His actions were not solely aimed at leveraging the chaos for the Fourth Group's benefit, but also at ensuring their activities caught the attention of Darth Sidious. Tang Xiao was aware that he was a pawn Plagueis had been grooming to counterbalance Sidious. By consistently demonstrating his value, he gained recognition from Plagueis and drew Sidious's attention. Sidious, perceiving the Fourth Group's repeated interference in his schemes as a threat orchestrated by Plagueis, grew increasingly wary. The Sith Lord, accustomed to a life of conspiracy and suspicion, could only interpret Plagueis's actions as preparations for a betrayal. However, Plagueis, holding his cards close to his chest, would never demean himself by explaining his strategy to his apprentice. Thus, the more active the Fourth Group became, the more Sidious's fear of Plagueis intensified. This fear, coupled with his pre-existing desire to eliminate his master, solidified Sidious's resolve. Tang Xiao's machinations were subtle, sowing discord without arousing suspicion from either Sith Lord. Now, an opportunity had arisen to further strain the relationship between Sidious and Plagueis, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation. In the underbelly of Coruscant, on the Tezn 22nd floor, chaos erupted as several buildings exploded into flames. The fire brigade's efforts to douse the inferno with jets of water were a desperate attempt to contain the destruction. Amidst this turmoil, Tang Xiao saw his chance to manipulate the unfolding events to his advantage, further entangling the fates of the Sith Lords in his intricate web of schemes. B-1 robots were diligently battling the blaze, surrounded by a crowd of onlookers, each person pointing and murmuring among themselves. Tucked away in a less noticeable corner, a human man in his 40s, accompanied by a robot, watched the fire with intense focus. He was Lorn Pawan, a self-proclaimed information broker. Just the day before, he had acquired a holographic memory from a Neimoidian for 500,000 credits. Rumors swirled that this memory contained a highly dangerous military plan, that could potentially blockade the planet Naboo in the near future. More alarmingly, it purportedly held evidence of the Sith's existence, a notion many in the Galactic Republic might have dismissed or forgotten, but not Lorn. He understood the gravity of what the word Sith implied. However, Lorn didn't actually possess the 500,000 credits. Yet he recognized the immense value of the memory and knew many would pay handsomely for it. Resorting to deception, he had his robot, I-5, hack into a bank's system to temporarily display the required sum in his electronic account. This illusion could only be maintained for about 40 minutes before the bank's security systems would catch on. Despite this, Lorne's plan succeeded, and he acquired the memory. But the fire unfolding before him complicated matters. Unbeknownst to Lorne, his scheme had inadvertently cornered Hasmonchar, a vice-governor of the prestigious trade union. Hasmonchar, pursued by bounty hunters dispatched by Newt Gunley, and with his accounts frozen, had relied on the 500,000 credits to secure passage off Coruscant with a smuggler. Yet, after handing over the memory, he found himself penniless and soon fell into the clutches of Darth Maul, leading to his demise. As the victims of the fire were retrieved, their bodies charred beyond recognition. Whispers among the crowd suggested that over 10 bounty hunters and several high-ranking Trade Alliance officials had perished in the blaze. Lorne's heart sank. It appeared the assailant had also eliminated the bounty hunter pursuing the Neimoidian. The ruthlessness of the act was chilling. When the body of the Neimoidian was finally brought out, Lorne's heart nearly stopped. Despite the severe burns, he recognized the distinctive marks of a lightsaber wound on the neck of the headless corpse. The cut was cauterized instantly by the high temperature of the blade, leaving no blood. Lorne was certain of it. Only a lightsaber could inflict such a wound. And it was unthinkable for a Jedi to commit such an act, leaving only one terrifying possibility. The Sith were indeed real. With a newfound urgency, Lorne Pawan quickly retreated from the scene, his loyal droid I-5 trailing behind to watch for any potential followers. His mind was consumed by a single thought: to sell the memory as quickly as possible and inform his son of the Sith's emergence. His familiarity with the wounds caused by a lightsaber came from his close association with the Jedi Knights. His son, after all, was none other than Jax Pawan, a Jedi. Vol 2, Chapter 310, Lorne Pawan. After returning to their hidden settlement, Lorne Pawan couldn't contain his excitement as he spoke to his droid I-5. "Listen, I-5, this is a big deal. Did you see the wound on that Neimoidian's neck? I swear it was made by a lightsaber. I swear. Those bastards. I worked for the Jedi Order for 10 years, you know? A whole decade. I even bought diapers for those Jedi children." "Pawan, I know. You've often shared your experiences with me," I-5 replied. "The Jedi Order, upon discovering the potential in your son, Jax Pavan, dismissed you because they couldn't allow emotional attachments. Consequently, you lost your job, your family fell apart, your wife left you, and your son was taken away to join the Jedi Order. I'm truly sorry, Pawan." As he spoke, I-5 walked over and gently patted Pawan on the back with his metal arm. Although I don't fully understand the significance of this gesture, I've observed many humans comforting each other in this manner. So, don't be disheartened, Pawan. You still have me, I-5YQ, your loyal companion. Pawan slumped down, covering his face with his hands. "But I-5, nearly 20 people died there just now. I knew one of them. Her name was Maui Lachin, a renowned bounty hunter in the Coruscant underworld. Maui never took on security jobs. She was there for one reason only, to kill that Neimoidian." "Yes, my database records 27 murders attributed to Maui Lachin," I-5 confirmed. "And the victim's body that was just brought out had connections to Kolta, Kivo, and other notorious figures on the black list of Coruscant's underworld. Someone eliminated them all, both the hunters and the hunted. If the information in this memory is accurate, then it must be the work of someone sent by the Trade Federation. They're planning to besiege the planet Naboo. If that's the case, a war might erupt between the Trade Federation and the Galactic Republic. War is a cruel thing, Pawan. No one wishes for it. We remember the Jedi corpse that was dumped at the capital's gates last year in Joris. Perhaps this is a precursor to war. But do you realize, those who killed the bounty hunters weren't from the Trade Federation. They wielded lightsabers and managed to eliminate more than a dozen bounty hunters. They couldn't have been untrained Force sensitives. The Jedi Order wouldn't commit such acts, so it must be the Sith. The Sith are the nightmare of the Galactic Republic. Perhaps everyone has forgotten, but I remember because the Jedi Order remembers too. What they have been guarding against for thousands of years is the resurgence of the Sith, and now they have indeed returned. Lorne Pavan was overcome with emotion and began to cry. He pounded the ground in despair, covering his face as he wept. But the Jedi Order has destroyed my life. How could I possibly want to save them? How could I? But my son is a Jedi. We should flee and sell this holographic storage as soon as possible. I found a buyer on the underground network, a Hutt named Yanth, willing to pay 1 million credits. With that money, we can purchase a decent ship and escape Coruscant, I-5 suggested. Lorne Pawan looked up abruptly, seizing I-5's arm. No, that's not enough. We need to do more. All right, tell me what you're thinking. I will transfer the entire contents of this holographic memory into your memory banks, and then I'll send you to the Jedi Order, to my son, Jax Piven. He's still young and needs guidance. The Jedi Order is cold and ruthless. I don't want my son to end up like them. Are you suggesting we part ways, Pawan? If it's the Sith we're dealing with, we might already be targets. I have an old friend who still works for the Jedi Order, dealing in supplies, after I was dismissed. I'll send you to him. He will then deliver you to my son, and you can pass on the data once you're activated. Master Yoda will surely take precautions if he's aware of the Sith's return. Pawan. We've been together for 7 years, I-5 expressed, showing a hint of reluctance. If I survive, I'll come back for you. Lorne Pawan, with a heavy heart, embraced I-5 tightly. I swear, I'll take Jax away from all this when the time comes. He's too young to be caught in the crossfire between the Sith and the Jedi amidst this war. With utmost caution, Lorne Pawan navigated the hoverbike to a secluded spot where he had hidden a car. He and I-5 had salvaged this vehicle from a junkyard and repaired it themselves. It was unregistered, flying under the radar of any official records, ensuring their movements remained a secret. To throw off any potential followers, he drove in several large circles before heading towards the desolate industrial area, making sure he wasn't being tracked. Throughout this time, the persistent Hutt buyer, Yangtze, bombarded him with messages, urging him to finalize their deal as soon as possible. Eventually, Lorne arrived at the designated meeting spot, an abandoned factory building with a dark history. A fire, years ago, had claimed the lives of the owner and the staff, a tragedy widely believed to be an act of arson. In the underbelly of Coruscant, such incidents were quickly forgotten. The factory, now a derelict shell, offered a discreet location for their transaction. Before entering, Lorne armed himself with a blaster pistol and made sure the car's rocket launcher was ready for immediate use. This precaution would buy him precious time in case of an emergency. Inside the factory, the silhouette of the Hutt, Yangtze, was unmistakable. However, as Lorne approached, he was met with a horrifying sight that left him frozen in shock. Yangtze lay dead, his abdomen gruesomely sliced open, his internal organs strewn about. The edges of the wound were charred black, evidence of a lightsaber's deadly touch. Not a single drop of blood remained. The heat had cauterized everything. Lorne's shock deepened as he noticed a pile of corpses in another corner, over 10 bodyguards, all loyal to Yangtze. It was clear, Hutts never traveled alone. Without a moment's hesitation, Lorne turned to flee, but a sudden whoosh stopped him in his tracks. A blood-red lightsaber blade appeared before him, casting a sinister glow that painted the shadows with a macabre hue. Behind the lightsaber stood a figure shrouded in a black cloak. Lorne, overcome with fear, fell to the ground and scrambled backward. Sith, he stammered. It seems you're well informed, Lorne Pawan. Years of service to the Jedi Order have granted you knowledge beyond that of ordinary men, the cloaked figure remarked coldly. And it appears you have a remarkable son. Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter. The robot I-5YQ and its owner, Jax Pawan, are intricately linked to the future of Anakin Skywalker. Vol 2, Chapter 311, Meeting 2. Lorne Pawan was in a state of sheer panic, his back pressed against the cold ground as he scrambled backwards, his footing uncertain. How did you find me? He stammered, his voice laced with terror. Don't worry, Darth Maul is currently preoccupied with the bank you were involved with before. He won't find you anytime soon, came the reply, the voice deep, resonant, and carrying a metallic edge, though it seemed altered from its natural tone. Darth, it's really a Sith. Lorne's fear escalated to new heights. Yes, it is, but as I've mentioned, Darth Maul won't be able to locate you. I have my ways within the Interstellar Banking Association, and diverting his investigation was a simple task. So, you tracked me down through the Interstellar Banking Association as well? Who are you, and what do you want from me? The better question is, how is your robotic companion, I-5? The mysterious figure responded, his voice grave. Lorne surged to his feet in alarm. You monster, you've captured I-5. Where is he? I do indeed have I-5 in my possession. Unfortunately, I must inform you that I arrived a moment too late. Your faithful friend had already wiped I-5's memory, seemingly intending to claim this exceptionally modified robot as his own. However, rest assured, I have dealt with him. The stranger explained, his tone devoid of malice. Hearing this, Lorne's tension eased slightly. So, you've recovered I-5. Thank you, truly. May I ask your name? Should the opportunity arise, I swear I'll repay you. A slight smirk tugged at the corner of the man's mouth, barely visible beneath his cloak. My name is Darth Marthael. Lorne collapsed to the ground once more, his body shaking uncontrollably. You're also a Sith. Why? Why are there Sith involved? Before we continue, I believe there's something you ought to say to your son. I will ensure the robot is delivered to the Jedi Order, to your son, Jax Pawan, Darth Marthael stated. What should I say? Lorne looked up at the man, fear evident in his voice. Darth Marthael dropped a holographic memory chip beside him, which Lorne recognized as belonging to I-5. Without another word, Darth Marthael turned to leave. You have 5 minutes. Clutching the memory chip tightly, Lorne hesitated before finally resolving to speak. Jax, my son, if you're hearing this, I'm not sure if I'm still alive. This man, his intentions are unclear, but he's given me this chance to leave you a message. Listen, Jax. When Darth Marthael returned a few minutes later, Lorne had completed the recording and seemed resigned to his fate. Kneeling, he placed the memory chip on the ground. There, do what you will, and thank you for offering to deliver I-5 to my son. Honestly, your survival might have been more beneficial to me, given your son's promising future. But now I must consider other factors, so your head will suffice, Darth Marthael remarked indifferently. My son. Jax, does he truly have a bright future? Lorne inquired, a sharp edge to his voice. Yes, he is exceptional, a person of integrity and intelligence. Before Lorne could respond, a red lightsaber flashed, severing his neck in an instant. His head rolled to the side as Darth Marthael collected it, placing it among the mechanical debris. Connecting to a hyperspace communication, the figure of Darth Plagueis appeared in the projection. Darth Marthael knelt on one knee. Your Highness, the mission is complete. Lorne Pawan's head is here. He attempted to transfer all data from the memory chip to his robot, planning to send the robot away and sell the memory to a Hutt. So it has ended as I anticipated? Darth Plagueis inquired slowly. Lorne Pawan, Yangs the Hutt, and any potential buyers from the Jedi Temple, along with their escorts and bodyguards, have been dealt with. As for the robot, I've wiped its memory and plan to repurpose it, Darth Marthael said, a smirk playing at the corner of his mouth. Excellent. Very well done. And now, their esteemed apprentice, what Darth Plagueis smiled smugly. Sidious's apprentice, Darth Maul, is currently engaging in a battle over the bank that Lorne Pavan has manipulated, Darth Marthael mocked with a hearty laugh. As expected of the apprentice I personally trained. Darth Plagueis cleverly made a pun, simultaneously mocking Darth Sidious and praising Darth Marthael. Return to Bora Island. In the next few months, you will undergo my final trial, he commanded. As you wish, Darth Marthael responded. A sleek, modified silver-black FC-20 speeder bike swiftly approached, and a figure cloaked in black dismounted. The figure made no effort to conceal his identity. As his cloak billowed, his red skin, black markings, and muscular build were revealed. He was Zabrak, Darth Maul, the apprentice of Darth Sidious. Clutching a long metal hilt in one hand, he made his way into the depths of an abandoned factory. However, he immediately sensed something amiss. With a flick of his wrist, a bright red blade of light extended from both ends of the hilt. Darth Maul lifted his hood, revealing a sinister face. "Ah, the scent of death," he chuckled darkly. He advanced, soon discovering the corpse of a Hutt and, not far from it, the body of Lorne Pavan. Dead, all dead, all dead, Darth Maul murmured, a grim smile playing on his lips as he approached the corpses. He crouched to inspect Lorne Pavan's headless body, only to find a destroyed holographic memory device on the chest. Suddenly, he sensed a murderous intent. Darth Maul leaped backward, adopting a defensive stance with his double-bladed lightsaber. "Who's there?" he demanded. Then, sensing a presence, he looked up to see a figure in a black cloak smirking at him from a steel beam overhead. Even in the shadows, Darth Maul could discern the mocking smile on the man's face. "Prepare to die." Darth Maul roared, launching himself at the figure with his lightsaber. With a swift motion, the steel beam was sliced in two, molten steel dripping from the cut. But the cloaked figure was agile, quickly moving to another position. Before Darth Maul could pursue, the figure pressed a remote control. Darth Maul felt an imminent danger, and almost instantly, a violent explosion engulfed the entire factory. The flames and shockwaves hit him hard, but his quick reflexes allowed him to use the Force to shield himself from the blast, though he landed outside the factory perimeter, somewhat disheveled. He stared at the burning factory and the direction in which the mysterious figure had vanished, his expression turning grave. P.S. The protagonist now embarks on his journey as a Sith. Henceforth, when appearing as a Sith, he will be known as Darth Marthael, and when leading the Fourth Civilization, he will also use the name Darth Marthael. Occasionally, I will refer to him as Tang Xiao. This naming convention applies to Darth Plagueis, Black God Damask II, and Darth Sidious, Sheev Palpatine as well. Vol 2, Chapter 312, The Chaotic Milky Way. In the shadowy corridors of power, a report of a mysterious assassination stirred the dark waters. Darth Sidious, shrouded in contemplation, listened as Darth Maul recounted the events. Maul, kneeling before his master, bore the marks of battle. His clothing was shredded, and his body was laced with wounds that oozed blood. Yet his focus remained unwavering as he delivered his report. A mysterious figure has slain Lorne Pavan. Additionally, a Hutt was found dead at the scene, Darth Maul reported, his voice serious despite his injuries. In the darkness, his face was obscured from me. My initial assault was effortlessly dodged, and then he triggered an explosion, robbing me of any further opportunity to engage him. Darth Sidious's brow furrowed in thought, and the holographic memory of Lorne Pavan was destroyed, conspicuously placed upon his chest. This indicates that our adversary was also after this memory. He paused, his mind racing. Yet, my master did not inform me of this development. It's peculiar. If he had dispatched someone to handle this, he would have surely informed me. The blockade of Naboo is a critical matter. Without confirmation, launching an invasion becomes problematic. Darth Maul remained silent, not daring to offer an opinion. His encounters with Darth Plagueis had instilled a deep sense of fear and respect for the powerful Sith Lord. Sidious, sensing Maul's reticence, probed further. "What can you tell me about this mysterious individual? Was he sensitive to the Force? A Jedi Knight, perhaps, or another Sith?" "I detected no presence of the Force," Maul admitted. "That he does not exhibit the Force does not preclude him from being a Jedi or Sith. It's possible he has mastered concealing his Force signature," Sidious mused. "However—" "Enough," Sidious interrupted, his voice final. "You are dismissed. I will handle this matter personally." With a nod, Maul retreated, leaving Sidious to gaze out over the Coruscant industrial zone. The sprawling expanse of machinery under the cover of night mirrored the dark thoughts that clouded his mind. Despite the destruction of the memory by Darth Maul, the plan to invade Naboo encountered unforeseen complications. For the Trade Federation, troubles seemed to compound, much like a house beset by leaks during a storm. While Newt Gunray focused on eliminating Lorne Pavan and securing the holographic memory, the Trade Federation's expansion efforts elsewhere also faced significant setbacks. 7 years prior, in 39 NNY, a satellite of the planet Araris in the Kashyyyk system, known as Araris-1, was discovered to contain valuable resources. The Wookiees of Kashyyyk sought permission from the Galactic Republic to colonize the satellite and were prepared to undertake a colonization war. However, upon their arrival, they found the Trade Federation had already established a base on Araris-1, engaging in a fierce conflict with the Gundak, a primitive yet intelligent local species. The Trade Federation, already under sanctions from the Galactic Republic prohibiting colonization, found themselves in armed conflict with the Wookiees after diplomatic efforts led by Wookiee leader Attachikuk failed. The conflict, characterized by intermittent battles and negotiations, persisted for 7 years. Just when the Trade Federation believed victory was within their grasp after severely injuring Attachikuk, his son, Chewbacca, rose to lead the Wookiee forces. Under Chewbacca's ingenious leadership, the Wookiees consistently outmaneuvered the Trade Federation's droid armies. The situation took a dramatic turn with the unexpected arrival of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi, on Araris 1. Their guidance accelerated Chewbacca's development, significantly bolstering the Wookiee resistance. As Newt Gunray received word of Lorne Pavan's death and believed the issue with the holographic memory resolved, he prepared to focus on Naboo. However, news arrived that the Wookiees had captured the Trade Federat, Ion's main base on Araris 1, dealing a significant blow to their operations and leaving the high-ranking officer in command. In a series of unfortunate events, Pector deserted his troops and fled in disgrace. The Trade Federation, already reeling from significant losses on the satellite of Araris 1, saw its reputation plummet. The grassroots support it once enjoyed crumbled away. News of the Federation's atrocities, including the genocide of the Gundak people on Araris 1 and the illegal construction of robot factories on the planet Eos, spread like wildfire. Speaker Finis Valorum, who had long awaited the opportunity to see the Trade Federation weakened, seized the moment to announce a new round of investigations and sanctions against them. Newt Gunray, battered by these developments, was forced to delay his plans to besiege the planet Naboo. The postponement set the operation back by 6 months, much to the frustration of Darth Sidious. Sidious, who considered Gunray his proxy, was infuriated by the continuous setbacks and the burden it placed on Darth Plagueis to rectify the situation, sensing a significant threat to their plans. The Jedi Order, too, faced its own set of challenges. The civil war on planet Celia had escalated beyond control. Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, initially dispatched to resolve the conflict, were successively killed by Yin Chiao. The situation worsened as the Li Ren uprising and the stalemate on the Arius 1 satellite fueled the conflict. The technology movement, led by Elder Dole Fermi Bombi, gained momentum with nearly 100,000 technology prisoners from 3 prison cities joining its ranks. They even launched an assault on the outskirts of the capital, Tekhalf. However, Elder Leiden's acquisition of tanks from the Technology Alliance at a steep price turned the tide against Elder Dole's forces. Undeterred, Elder Dole procured anti-tank rocket launchers, and the battlefront was alive with conflict once more. As the scale of the Civil War expanded, many sought to address the issue calmly, initiating various anti-war movements. They organized marches and petitions, calling for the warring factions to cease hostilities and engage in peace talks. Among the advocates for peace was Sylvan, the daughter of Jedi Master Ki-Adi Mundi. Leveraging her father's renown on the planet Saria, she tirelessly campaigned for an end to the war. Tragically, her efforts were cut short when, during an anti-war rally, a clash with extremists led to her being fatally shot in the chest by an assassin concealed within the crowd. The news of Sylvan's assassination sent shockwaves through the Jedi community. Master Ki-Adi Mundi, overwhelmed by grief and rage, emerged from seclusion. The force around him stirred, ominously hinting at the dark side's influence as he grappled with the loss of his daughter. Vol 2, Chapter 313, Step into the Abyss. The news that Ki-Adi Mundi's youngest daughter had been killed sent shockwaves through the dark corridors of power. Darth Plagueis, upon receiving this information, wasted no time in informing Darth Marthael, who was deep in practice. The revelation took Darth Marthael by surprise, signaling that events on the planet Celia had taken a drastic turn, veering off the original course and galloping into uncharted territory. Ki-Adi Mundi's youngest daughter was killed. Darth Plagueis confirmed, a hint of pride in his voice. Furthermore, I sensed the presence of the dark side on Celia. This development delighted him, as it indicated another Jedi Master teetering on the brink of darkness. And what of Master Dooku? Darth Marthael inquired, a sly smile playing on his lips. I've mentioned our plan regarding Master Dooku becoming another of Darth Sidious's apprentices, Darth Plagueis responded. And the fool, Darth Maul? Darth Marthael prodded further. Darth Plagueis let out a cold laugh. You already know the answer to that. Turning the conversation towards Ki-Adi-Mundi, Darth Marthael asked, should we fan the flames further? Darth Plagueis weighed his words carefully. Ki-Adi-Mundi, being a prime candidate for the Jedi Order's Supreme Council, possesses far greater skills than you currently do. Direct confrontation would be unwise. However, since the fire has already been lit, adding to it could prove intriguing. The one responsible for his daughter's death is Yvette Mon, a gang leader with ties to Jabba the Hutt. Begin there. This will serve as one of your trials. Remember, the path of the Sith involves not just combat, but also the manipulation of hearts and minds. As you command, Darth Marthael replied, bowing. Meanwhile, Tang Xiao returned to the Andor galaxy, making his way to the Mothership of the Glory. Upon arrival, he summoned Baron Helmut Zemo. Governor, what do you require of me? Baron Zemo asked, his bow filled with grace. I tasked you and Ni Yongxiao with establishing our intelligence network. What progress have we made? Tang Xiao inquired. Baron Zemo shook his head. Building an intelligence network through underworld connections seemed promising, but we're still lacking in foundational support and connections. Many officials are entangled with the Black Sun Syndicate. As the Black Sun's influence wanes, they're hesitant to associate with another criminal organization. It seems the Black Sun's reach is more extensive than I anticipated, Tang Xiao mused. The Black Sun's strength lies not in their fleets, but in their widespread corruption and infiltration. They thrive in the complacency of the Galactic Republic. However, under your leadership, we've managed to breach their defenses, Baron Zemo explained, spreading his hands. The key to our success against the Black Sun begins with you, Your Excellency, he concluded. There's something I need to investigate. Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi from Cilia has 5 wives and 7 children. With his youngest daughter Sylvan assassinated, I need information on his remaining family members, Tang Xiao stated. Your Excellency, are you considering a move against the Jedi Knight? Baron Zemo asked, a mysterious smile creeping onto his face. Have you been anticipating this? Tang Xiao queried, noticing his expression. Jedi Knights, with their unparalleled powers, create an imbalance in the universe. Their prolonged superiority over ordinary beings poses a question. What happens when such a group remains unchallenged? Baron Zemo posited. The Jedi Order has evolved into a privileged class, but in this new order, you alone suffice, he added. Tang Xiao remained silent, pondering the implications, then finally spoke. Since you're aware of the stakes, proceed with the mission. Tang Xiao gazed out of the mothership's porthole, a wry smile playing on his lips. Isn't it unfortunate for the family? His smile gradually turned icy. Since we've chosen to enter this world of blood and fire, and to have a family, who can we blame? His laughter grew darker, echoing ominously. Suddenly, his smile vanished, and he punched the wall with such force that it left a deep dent in the metal, blood staining the edges. Bastard! You're a bastard! He muttered, turning away from the office in disgust. On the planet Cilia, in the capital city of Takaf, chaos reigned. Elder Laden, having suddenly revealed a cache of modern weapons, took control of Takaf City by assassinating the Great Elder of the Cilia Planet Presbyterian Church. Proclaiming himself the new Great Elder, he selected over 20 individuals of some renown to act as members of the Presbyterian Church, though they were merely puppets to maintain appearances. Faced with the aggressive Elder Dole and his technically advanced army, Elder Laden realized the 10,000 outdated blaster rifles he had been given were insufficient. Desperate for more firepower, he encountered Walter Tamber, a self-proclaimed leader of the Technology Alliance, who offered him advanced weaponry, including tanks. Unaware that these were actually obsolete, Elder Laden, a man from an era of simpler weapons, spent the city's accumulated wealth on this arsenal. These new weapons gave him a temporary edge. After acquiring tanks, he managed to push back the Technical Movement's army, despite suffering losses from their sniper rifles and armor-piercing bullets. However, every time he seemed close to victory, Elder Dole's forces would regroup and retaliate, this time with M41 SSR dual-mounted anti-tank rocket launchers, causing significant losses to Laden's tank forces. With his resources depleted, Elder Laden issued war bonds in his territory, hoping to rally financial support from the populace. However, viewed as a traitor by many, the bond sold poorly, forcing him to resort to threats to secure funding. Amidst this turmoil, one night, as Elder Laden was about to sleep, a mysterious figure appeared on his windowsill. The man, cloaked in black with only a chilling smile visible under his hood, introduced himself as Darth Marthal. "You won't tell anyone my name," he warned, "because if you do, you'll never speak again." Elder Laden, caught in a daze, could only agree, murmuring, "Yes, I won't say it." This encounter marked the beginning of an uneasy alliance, shrouded in secrecy and threats, as Elder Laden navigated the treacherous waters of power and betrayal in a world torn by war and technological upheaval. Vol 2, Chapter 314, A Genius in Manipulation. Elder Laden seemed to suddenly awaken from a terrifying nightmare. His head shot up, and he stared at his adversary as if he were facing the most horrifying specter imaginable. In a moment of panic, he stumbled and fell to the ground with a heavy thud. What are you planning to do?" he stammered. Darth Marthal sneered, a cold amusement in his voice. "Nothing much, just implanted a subtle suggestion in your subconscious." It was known that Jedi Knights or Siths with advanced abilities could use the Force to influence the minds of those with weaker wills. This wasn't outright mind control, but rather a nudge in their thought processes, leading them to certain conclusions. However, this influence was typically weak, short-lived, and rarely decisive. Darth Marthal, however, had employed a far more sophisticated technique. He manipulated Elder Laden's subconscious, planting a seed that, under the right conditions, would bloom into a dark and powerful outcome. "Are you a Jedi Knight?" Elder Laden asked, his voice trembling with fear. Darth Marthal laughed derisively. "Why would you compare me to those decrepit and feeble Jedi Knights? I find the comparison displeasing." He leaped down from the windowsill and approached Elder Laden, who scrambled backward until he was cornered against a cabinet with no escape. Trapped, Elder Laden could only press his back against the cabinet and stand his ground. "Then, who are you?" he managed to ask. "I'm here to assist you," Darth Marthal sneered, patting Elder Laden's face mockingly. "Look at your situation. You're on the brink of failure. Without funds, you can't arm yourself adequately. Dalfermi Bonmi's forces will soon overrun the city of T'Kalf, and your head will be displayed in the square as a trophy of his victory." Elder Laden shuddered violently, his mind conjuring the gruesome image of his decaying head hanging in the square, a fat worm emerging from an eye socket to feast on his rotting flesh. "No, impossible. I still command 50,000 troops. I cannot be defeated," Elder Laden protested, waving his hands frantically as if to dispel the horrifying vision. For a moment, it seemed to work, and he stopped, panting heavily. "Don't forget, Elder Dole has freed 100,000 prisoners from those 3 prison cities," Darth Marthal reminded him. "I know. It's impossible. I refuse to accept defeat," Elder Laden insisted, denial clouding his judgment. "Yet defeat stares you in the face. Your army's tanks are nearly depleted, reduced to mere scrap metal. How else could they be destroyed so easily by mere bazookas? From the beginning to the end, you've been nothing but a fool, squandering your wealth on useless junk. Why?" Darth Marthal's tone was icy. "I, the traitor, Walter Tamber, deceived me. I'll kill him. I swear it." Elder Laden's eyes blazed with rage. "You shouldn't demean yourself. You are the esteemed elder, the supreme leader of planet Celia. Yet why do they deceive and defy you? Could they be plotting against Celia itself? No, think more deeply. Even Elder Dole's opposition stems from a mere philosophical disagreement. But there's another, one who watched you fall into crisis and did nothing. He is the true architect of your despair," Darth Marthal whispered, his voice a demonic seduction. Who dares?" Elder Laden gasped, his breath quickening. "Jedi Master, Ki-Adi-Mundi." Darth Marthal uttered the name softly, like a curse. "Master Mundi," Elder Laden repeated, his voice quivering with fear and realization. "Recall the last upheaval caused by Elder Dole. It was Master Mundi who turned the tide, halting the worsening crisis. He even captured Yuri Orlov, the arms dealer who supplied Elder Dole. Did you not perceive Master Mundi's influence then? His reach extends far beyond what you've imagined." Darth Marthal approached Elder Laden, his voice a sinister echo in the Elder's ears. "Master Mundi has the power to rally almost the entire planet behind him. You know this, and he knows it too. But Malthael's smile turned dark. Why has he disregarded you, the Great Elder? And why was Yuri Orlov acquitted? Why? Elder Laden, swayed by Malthael's words, felt his anger boiling over. Why doesn't he support me? I intended to appoint him as the Grand Marshal. He should be fighting to reunite Celia under my command, but he does nothing. Why did he free Yuri Orlov? Why? Because he desires to be the Great Elder himself, Darth Malthael revealed ominously. By releasing Yuri Orlov, he was manipulating the situation. He's been arming Elder Dole in secret, aiming to become the true power behind the throne. Fool! I'll kill him for this betrayal, Leighton roared, consumed by rage. No, you cannot. He is far more powerful than you, capable of ending your life effortlessly, Malthael cautioned, shaking his head. But I can assist you in dealing with Mundi. However, he surpasses me in strength as well, so I will need your aid. Tell me how I can assist you, Leighton demanded, his eyes burning with vengeance. Mundi has 5 wives and 7 children. Despite the Jedi Knight's creed of detachment, he cannot remain indifferent to their fates. Consider this, a Jedi Knight with more wives than even you. His priorities are clear, Malthael insinuated, his tone dripping with malice. Leighton's face hardened with resolve. I understand. I'll capture his family. In his moment of vulnerability, you will strike him down. Malthael's smile was malevolent. And then, Elder Dole will be left defenseless, I assure you. With a grimace, Leighton seized a glass of wine from the table and drank it down, his grip tightening until the glass shattered in his hand. When he looked up again, Malthael had vanished. Volume 2, Chapter 315, A Mad Genius. In a clandestine meeting, Elder Dole Fermi Bonmi and his associates discussed their next move. There remains a significant obstacle in our plan, Yuri Orlov began, his voice low and serious. The obstacle is the tank! The tank! Yvonne interjected angrily. I want the tank. When will you give it to me, Santa? Elder Dole, with a political intuition far surpassing that of any ordinary gangster, chuckled. Santa Claus bringing me a tank changes everything. Haven't you noticed my approval rating soaring? Now that Elder Laden has deployed the tank first, it works in my favor. The people will not support him. But Mr. Yuri, what exactly is the obstacle you mentioned? Yuri Orlov, recalling the advice Tang Xiao had given him earlier, subtly manipulated the conversation. Ki Adi Mundi, he hinted, watching Elder Dole closely. Elder Dole took a deep breath, leaning back in his chair. Indeed, Ki Adi Mundi has always opposed our technological advancements. If he remains, gaining widespread support will be challenging. He paused, fixing Yuri with a stern gaze. However, assassinating a Jedi Knight would not be well received by the Galactic Republic. Ki Adi Mundi must die, that's a given. I've made some arrangements, Yuri Orlov revealed, lighting a cigar. I heard about Mundi's youngest daughter? You were responsible? Elder Dole inquired, his tone flat. I was merely teaching him a lesson for arresting you without cause. He has 7 children. Losing one isn't too severe, right? Yvonne's voice was cold and detached. So you're suggesting we target his other children? Yvonne asked, seeking clarification. This matter has already been taken care of. A mysterious voice suddenly interjected from the shadows, startling everyone. Who is this? They all turned to see a figure cloaked in black, who had somehow bypassed all security to enter the room. Yuri was initially shocked, but then seemed to realize something, his expression turning to one of stunned silence. Sit down, Yuri. This isn't your fault, the stranger said, gently pushing Yuri back into his seat. He then addressed Yvonne. Elder Laden has agreed to deploy troops. Master Mundi's family has been captured. Now, you just need to focus on Master Mundi. Once he's eliminated, Santa Claus will supply you with an arsenal. The civil war on planet Celia will conclude within a week. Elder Laden agreed to this? How could he? Elder Dole murmured, puzzled. You need not worry about Laden's motivations. Just know that he will act. Once Master Mundi is gone, lead your army to Tikaf City. The outcome is inevitable, the mysterious man explained, his presence commanding yet enigmatic. Elder Dole's expression brightened as he grasped the plan's full scope. This is an excellent opportunity. I'll mobilize the army immediately. Santa, please arrange the weapons and equipment. As for Master Mundi, leave him to me. No matter how formidable the Jedi Knights are, they cannot withstand an entire army. The Anjoli people have already proven that. In a week, we'll be celebrating our victory in Calf City Hall. Yvonne, still somewhat hesitant, was nonetheless drawn to the proposal. The promise of victory and power was too tempting to resist. The prospect of killing a Jedi Knight still filled him with fear. However, the mysterious man in black added, "Never underestimate a Jedi Knight. Master Mundi, through the Force, likely already knows who was responsible for his daughter's death." Yvonne, after a moment of contemplation, displayed a grim smile on his rugged face. "If it comes to it, killing a Jedi Knight is a risk we'll have to take," he declared, finally resolved. The negotiation concluded, and both Yvonne and Elder Dole departed. Yuri Orlov, left standing before the man in black, hesitated before voicing his concern. "Boss, was this your plan all along?" "Are you worried about your brother, Vitaly Orlov?" the man in black inquired. "I believe he would have done everything in his power to prevent this," Yuri admitted. "And what about you?" the man pressed. Lighting a cigar, Yuri responded, "I'm a businessman. My trade may involve weapons, but I don't kill people, nor do I encourage others to do so. I provide the means, but the choice to use them lies with them, and unlike cigarettes, my weapons come with a safety catch. This time, I'll handle it for you. But next time, the decision will be yours," the man in black stated. "As an arms dealer, my only principle is clear," Yuri declared, extinguishing his cigar and standing. "Never get involved in a war." "The war has already begun," the man in black countered with a smile. Adjusting his suit, Yuri replied with a bright smile, "Should you need my services in the future, don't hesitate to call." With that, he extended his hand, shook hands with the mysterious man, and departed. In the days that followed, events on planet Celia spiraled rapidly out of control. The first major incident was the occupation of Tekov, the capital city. Laden, who had self-proclaimed himself as Grand Elder, sent a request to Master Ki-Adi Mundi of planet Celia, inviting him to become the honorary elder of the planet. However, Master Mundi did not respond, as he was in a state of meditation, trying to calm the turmoil within his force. In response to Master Mundi's silence, Elder Laden made a bold and shocking move. He announced that Master Mundi, having made no contributions to planet Celia and refusing to cooperate, was guilty of treason. A bounty was placed on his family, sending shockwaves throughout the community. Volume 2, Chapter 316, Fall into Darkness. The moment Elder Laden expressed his desire to confront Master Mundi's family, they immediately began preparations to relocate to a secret residence for a meeting. However, a piece of clandestine information from an unknown source landed on Elder Laden's desk, revealing the movements of the Mundi family. Armed with this intelligence, Elder Laden dispatched forces that successfully captured Master Mundi's 2 sons and 2 wives, accusing them of treason and imprisoning them to await their fate. Elder Laden then issued a final demand to Master Mundi, insisting he present himself in Tekov City to explain his actions. This development sparked outrage across the planet Celia, with many viewing Elder Laden with disdain and leading to defections within his ranks. Master Ki-Adi Mundi, revered for his generosity and wisdom, remained a beloved figure on Celia. Even after joining the Jedi Order, he tirelessly worked to protect the planet and its people, advocating for a simple way of life and the preservation of the planet's natural beauty against industrial pollution. His ideals, though perhaps seen as outdated by some, still filled the hearts of the Celia inhabitants with pride. However, under the influence of Darth Marthael, Elder Laden's obsession with power had driven him to madness, making him deaf to reason. He became convinced that Master Mundi was the final barrier to his quest for ultimate power. Haunted by visions of triumph and domination, Laden dreamed of a day when the death of Master Mundi would cement his authority, believing that only in death could idols truly serve his ambitions. Upon hearing of his family's capture, Master Mundi was initially consumed by rage, contemplating a direct assault on Laden to rescue his loved ones. However, he quickly regained his composure, reaching out to his remaining family to ensure their safety before agreeing to meet with Elder Laden in Tekov City. Just as he thought he had everything under control, a sudden, ominous premonition struck him. Guided by the Force, Master Mundi ventured out of the secluded woods, only to be ambushed by a horde of gang members and bounty hunters. Concern for his family's safety fueled his anger, and with lightsaber in hand, he charged into battle. Meanwhile, on Coruscant, within the towering Jedi Temple, Master Yoda abruptly ended his meditation. Sensing the turmoil on Celia, he declared, "Prepare the spaceship immediately." "What happened, Master Yoda?" Master Windu inquired. "Planet Celia, Master Mundi," Yoda replied, his voice grave as he made his way to the shuttle. The shuttle journeyed through hyperspace, covering thousands of light years to reach the planet Celia. From the porthole, the breathtaking view of the planet's blue seas and verdant landscapes unfolded. Yet, the beauty of Celia offered no solace to Master Yoda, whose thoughts were solely focused on the urgent mission at hand. Descending through the atmosphere like a meteor, the shuttle made a beeline for the castle. As it landed, Master Yoda leaped out before the hatch had fully opened. He was greeted by a large crowd of onlookers gathered outside a house within the castle grounds. The crowd was a mix of Celia inhabitants and visitors from other planets, all of whom were pointing and discussing the scene before them. With a sigh, Master Yoda raised his hand and waved gently. A refreshing breeze seemed to sweep through the crowd, which involuntarily parted to create a path for him. At the doorstep of the house lay more than a dozen bodies, among them the enormous corpse of a Chuan man, a species bearing some resemblance to Earth's elephants. Master Ki-Adi-Mundi was kneeling in front of the house, his lightsaber placed before him. Despite sensing Master Yoda's arrival, Master Mundi remained silent, motionless as if he were a statue. Master Yoda approached slowly, his voice filled with concern. "Master Mundi, this path you've chosen is not right. You're straying from your heart, from the Force. I sense anger, sadness, within you, darkness. It tempts you." His name was Ivanta Mon, a gang leader under Jabba, Master Mundi replied, his voice heavy. "He sent his men to kidnap my wife and children and to kill me. Death does not frighten me, but the thought of losing my family again does. They were targeted by this Chuan. The dark side tempts us all, making us fear the loss of our loved ones. You have handled it well until now," Master Yoda said, shaking his head in disappointment. "But now, I still have 2 wives and 2 sons held captive by Elder Laden. I must save them, even if it means the end of my career in the Jedi Order," Master Mundi declared, determination in his voice. "I sensed your arrival, Master Yoda. This is my farewell. Return to the Jedi Temple now. Your family I will rescue," Master Yoda stated decisively. "But I," Master Mundi began, only to be interrupted as Master Yoda raised his hand, enveloping him in a peaceful light of the original Force. It seemed to cleanse the darkness within him. Initially, Master Mundi appeared to be in pain, but he soon relaxed, his expression softening. Bowing deeply to Master Yoda, he said, "Yes, Master Yoda. I will return to the Jedi Temple and dedicate my life to understanding the Force. I will never again set foot in this galaxy." Master Yoda nodded, his expression thoughtful. After a moment, he called out to Master Mundi's retreating figure, "Who told you Ifent Mon was the murderer?" Master Mundi paused, reflecting for a moment before answering, "I was ambushed outside the woods. It was a bounty hunter who told me." A bounty hunter, yet privy to such secrets," Master Yoda mused, his mind racing with the implications of this revelation. Vol 2, Chapter 317, The End of Celia. In the command center of the castle, Elder Dol Fermi Bonmi gazed into the distance, a question forming on his lips. "Ivant Mon, is he already dead?" Standing behind him, cloaked in shadows, Darth Marthael responded with a lightness that belied the gravity of his words. "Indeed, everything has proceeded according to our plan. Ivant Mon's death serves as the final, unblemished step in purging your regime. Despite his previous assistance, his death now serves as the greatest aid he could offer." Elder Dole nodded, his expression one of grim satisfaction. "The emerging Saria Presbyterian Church cannot be a regime that relies solely on the support of a gang," he sneered, then shifted the conversation. "Your relationship with Mr. Santa Yuri seems to extend beyond mere professional bounds, doesn't it?" Darth Marthael's response was icy, a warning veiled in calm. "Do not concern yourself with the nature of my relationship with him, nor seek to uncover my identity. Such curiosity could very well prevent you from witnessing another sunrise." Acknowledging the warning, Elder Dole bowed slightly. "I will immediately prepare for the general assault on Tekhalf City." Darth Marthael signaled, and General Hakimi of the Kali approached, kneeling before him. "Before that, Darth Marthael instructed. "You must first negotiate a deal with the giant god." Elder Dole's frown deepened at the sight of the normally ferocious Hakimi showing such deference. He nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. When he looked up again, the man in the black cloak had vanished. Master Yoda, representing the Jedi Order, issued a stern warning regarding Grand Elder Laden of Celia's audacious act of kidnapping the family of Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi. Master Yoda planned to personally travel to Tekhalf City to apprehend Elder Laden. However, Elder Dole acted swiftly, deploying the previously idle mercenaries of the Giant God Security Company. The elite Kali troops, equipped with advanced weaponry, launched an airborne operation on Tekhalf City, quickly overwhelming Elder Laden's already faltering defenses. The mercenaries occupied the Presbyterian Church's hall, executing Elder Laden on the spot. Following this decisive action, Elder Dole's forces advanced, capturing Tekhalf City with little resistance. The news of Elder Laden's execution demoralized his forces, leading to widespread desertion. Master Yoda, taken aback by these developments, contacted Hakimi, who coldly informed him that the affair was an internal matter of the Celia planet, emphasizing his lack of political allegiance. Hakimi's composed demeanor in dealing with the Jedi was noteworthy. The civil war on Celia concluded dramatically, with Elder Dole's popularity soaring due to his decisive actions, marking a new chapter for the planet. Elder Dole's ascension to the position of the Great Elder of Celia planet was a testament to his strength and strategic acumen. The remaining separatist forces and warlords, weakened and scattered, stood no chance against his arsenal of modern weaponry and equipment. It was only a matter of time before Celia was reunited, bringing an end to the 7 months of civil strife. The root cause of this prolonged conflict was the clandestine machinations of Yuri Olaf, Baron Helmut Zemo, and Tang Xiao. Elder Laden, in reality, was merely a pawn in their elaborate game, manipulated to serve their ends, whether to bolster or to discard him at their convenience. Despite the undercurrents of manipulation, Elder Dole proved himself to be not only a capable statesman, but also a military strategist of some renown. He was aware of the manipulations at play, but chose to overlook them, viewing the upheaval and the subsequent consolidation of power as an opportunity. The fourth group, with the backing of Elder Laden and the Technology Alliance, managed to siphon off the wealth accumulated by previous elders. Dole saw this not as a loss, but as a boon to the fourth group. Furthermore, Elder Laden's actions served to erode the remaining influence of the presbytery, inadvertently paving the way for Dole's unchallenged rule. In March of the year 25-021 of the Galactic Standard Calendar, 32 BBY, Dole Fermi Bonmi officially declared himself the Great Elder of Celia and announced the planet's intention to join the Galactic Republic. Braun, the former Republic representative who had been detained prior to his appointment and subsequently released, was appointed as Celia's representative on Coruscant. Following this, the Dawn planet, under the leadership of Governor Tang Xiao, extended an olive branch to Celia, promising a visit and a series of cooperative agreements. Claire Underwood's Outer Ring Planet Mutual Aid Fund quickly followed suit, advocating for Republic planets to support the post-war reconstruction of Celia. Gross Shelby, representing the fourth group, arrived on Celia to aid in the reconstruction efforts, donating a small space station, 10 artificial satellites, and selling 20 outdated blade fighters at a discounted rate. This bolstered Celia's preliminary defense capabilities. The Galactic Republic Council swiftly ratified an agreement recognizing the regime of Dole Fermi Bonmi as the legitimate government of Celia and approved the planet's application to join the Galactic Republic. The turmoil on Celia also had personal repercussions for Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi, who was deeply affected by his familial ties, nearly succumbing to the dark side. Master Yoda intervened, bringing him back to the Jedi Temple. Master Mundi chose to seclude himself in a secret chamber within the temple, vowing never to leave its confines again. Thus, the chaos that had engulfed Celia for over a year was finally quelled, culminating in the comprehensive victory of Dole Fermi Bonmi and the planet's hopeful stride towards peace and prosperity under the Galactic Republic. Vol 2, Chapter 318, Thornhill's Party. In March of 32 BBY, the Interstellar Banking Association, was on the cusp of a significant change. Ford Tony, the current co-chairman, had reached the end of his term and announced his decision not to seek re-election. This opened the door for a new leader, and San Hill, the eldest son of the prestigious Hill family, threw his hat into the ring. With the backing of Hego Damask II, a figure of immense influence within the association, and several other powerful families, San Hill's victory was all but assured. The election concluded without any surprises, and San Hill was officially named the new co-chairman of the Interstellar Banking Association. To celebrate this momentous occasion, San Hill, now commonly referred to as Thornhill, hosted a lavish dinner party. The event was so extravagant that it rivaled the parties once thrown by Hego Damask II on the planet Sojourn. Among the distinguished guests were King Damasco II, director of the Damask Holding Group, Shu Mai, head of the Business Guild, Newt Gunley, governor of the Trade Alliance, Pacel Argent, head of the Enterprise Alliance, Walter Tamber, head of the Technology Alliance, Gross Shelbia, representative of the Fourth Group, and Tang Xiao, governor of Planet Dawn. Notorious figures such as Dryden Voss, leader of Scarlet Dawn, and Madame Bixie, head of the White Worm Gang, were also in attendance. A particularly intriguing guest was Poggle the Lesser, the Archduke of Planet Geonosis, whom Tang Xiao was meeting for the first time. Tang Xiao brought along Alia Isabel, a stunning companion whose grace and talent in singing and acting had flourished during her time on Planet Dawn. Her close proximity to Tang Xiao did not go unnoticed, eliciting a disdainful snort and a muttered insult from Gross Shelby. As the dinner progressed, an unexpected guest made an appearance, Jedi Master Dooku. Despite his Jedi background, Dooku was dressed in a regal and dignified manner, exuding an air of nobility. Approaching Tang Xiao, he expressed his admiration for the progress of Planet Dawn and commended Tang Xiao's leadership. The exchange was polite and respectful, with both men acknowledging each other's contributions to the galaxy. Tang Xiao also reconnected with Dryden Voss and Madame Bixie, expressing gratitude for their past collaborations and hinting at future endeavors. The gathering was a melting pot of influential figures, each with their own agendas and ambitions. Among the guests, Poggle the Lesser stood out. Despite the Geonosians' reputation as a discriminated race within the Galactic Republic, their expertise in manufacturing and processing industries was unparalleled. Tang Xiao, aware of Poggle's significance in future events, took the opportunity to forge a connection with the Geonosian Archduke. The dinner party at Thornhill was a convergence of power, ambition, and intrigue, setting the stage for future alliances and conflicts within the galaxy. Struggling with Galactic Standard, a translation robot accompanied Archduke Poggle Lower. Originally from a lower caste among the Geonosians, his surname reflected his status. However, in 34 BBY, he initiated a rebellion against the reigning Archduke Hades of the upper caste. The ensuing civil war was fiercely contested, but with financial backing from Darth Sidious, Poggle Lower emerged victorious in 33 BY, overthrowing Archduke Hades and condemning him to a gruesome fate in the Colosseum. Now the new Archduke of Geonosis, Poggle Lower sought to elevate the status of his people in the galaxy, a desire deeply rooted in his lower caste origins. During a meeting with Tang Xiao, a disciple of Hego Damask II, Poggle Lower and his people expressed a keen interest in collaborating with the Dawn Planet. Despite lacking in design and development capabilities, the Geonosians excelled in production, a trait unmatched by many in the galaxy. Master Dooku, stepping into the limelight, captivated the audience with his vision. His deep, magnetic voice, coupled with his passionate rhetoric, painted a picture of a future governed by efficient power. He called upon those present to join him in forging a new republic. Among the attendees, figures like Walter Tamber, Shu Mai, and Passer Argent showed visible excitement, seeing an opportunity to advance their business interests further. However, individuals such as Newt Gunley, Thornhill, and Poggle Lower appeared more reserved. Their connections to the Sith made them prioritize personal power over the fate of the Galactic Republic, though they did not openly oppose Master Dooku's vision. During the dinner, San Hill approached Tang Xiao with a peculiar question about his association with Kali mercenaries. Tang Xiao clarified that it was more of a partnership than employment. He praised the Kali mercenaries for their ferocity and combat prowess, suggesting they were the galaxy's finest army following the Mandalorian's downfall. Thornhill, however, expressed skepticism about the Kali's suitability as a real army, prompting a discussion on the merits of robots versus humans in combat. Tang Xiao acknowledged the utility of robots, but hinted that the answer depended on the specific type of robot in question, leaving the conversation intriguingly open-ended. Vol 2, Chapter 319, Value. Thornhill offered a light smile, acknowledging the utility of robots. Actually, I agree with your idea. Robots are indeed valuable tools. Tang Xiao returned the smile politely, having already anticipated Thornhill's intentions. Yet, he chose not to intervene, believing that allowing events to unfold naturally was the best course of action. It seemed he had grown accustomed to observing such developments from the sidelines. Meanwhile, at the dinner party, Gross Shelby had indulged a bit too much in the wine. She moved towards Tang Xiao with a sway, her movements reminiscent of a serpent, a glass of wine precariously held in her hand. Dear Governor, I must tell you about the significant business deal I've just secured with Newt Gunley. She leaned heavily on Tang Xiao, seemingly losing her balance and nearly collapsing into his arms. There's no need for such theatrics to start our conversation, Tang Xiao remarked with a slight smile, steadying Gross by wrapping an arm around her slender waist. He took a moment to appraise her appearance. She was dressed in a sleek black suit and pencil skirt, complemented by brown stockings and black peep-toe heels. Her attire seemed more suited for a business negotiation than a social gathering. Her bow tie was undone, hanging loosely, and her shirt collar slightly open, offering a glimpse of what lay beneath. And how should we begin? Gross inquired, her voice laced with intoxication. It's been a tough journey for you, leading the fourth group on your own, yet it seems you're drifting further away from me. Even at such a gathering, you can't seem to let go and simply enjoy yourself in a beautiful dress, Tang Xiao said softly, running his fingers through her blonde hair. Your acknowledgement is all I need, Gross murmured, closing her eyes and tightening her embrace. However, the governor of Dawn Planet and the representative of the fourth group really shouldn't be seen getting too close at a time like this, Tang Xiao gently reminded her, easing her away. Gross, slightly bewildered, clinked her glass against Tang Xiao's, then emptied it. I often wonder what kind of woman could thaw your icy heart. Tang Xiao offered a cryptic smile. If only the Milky Way had a gender. That night, Alia Isabel sat alone in her room, clutching a soft, warm quilt that seemed to offer little comfort. She stared blankly at the wall, her mind conjuring images of passionate encounters happening elsewhere. She understood why she was alone tonight. The tenderness she once saw in that man's eyes seemed to have vanished, replaced by a cold indifference. The man who had once rescued her with a gentle yet firm hand now seemed to have dropped all pretenses of warmth. Gross Shelby, in another villa, whispered her intoxicated vows. I want to become a part of this galaxy and bow down at your feet forever. Elsewhere, Grievous was in a rage, berating a group of B-1 combat robots for their failure in an ambush. You bunch of worthless iron lumps. Stupid! He had expected a strategic ambush, not a chaotic skirmish that barely made it 3 kilometers before devolving into aimless shooting. I believe the Alpha team executed their mission commendably. They remained concealed until the target was in sight, a testament to their sensors' efficiency and the maintenance team's diligence. A B-1 battle droid captain responded, misunderstanding Grievous's fury. Get out of here, Grievous bellowed, his eyes bloodshot with anger. Roger, Roger, the robot captain replied mechanically, saluting before making a hasty retreat. Sir, should the destroyed robot be counted as a casualty of battle? In the midst of a heated discussion, a T-Series tactical robot with a square head inquired, is this regarding damage or daily consumption? Exasperated, Grievous delivered a powerful kick to the tactical robot, sending it crashing to the ground. His frustration boiled over, causing him to roar loudly as he struggled to catch his breath. After a moment, Grievous managed to quell the storm of anger raging within him. He then initiated a communication link and projected his fury onto Thornhill, who appeared in holographic form, still clad in pajamas. I'm utterly fed up with these inept robots. They're completely incapable of executing even a simple tactical raid. All they do is line up and shoot aimlessly. Thornhill, seemingly unfazed, responded, "You will receive an ample supply of robots, Mr. Grievous, the collection agent. My only concern is ensuring the debts of planet Cerebine are settled. If you could provide me with just 1,000 Kali warriors, I could recover all of your debts without fail," Grievous retorted. "One Kali warrior might outmatch 100 B1 battle droids, but I've supplied you with 100,000 B1s, which should suffice," Thornhill countered. "This isn't a mere numbers game," Grievous exclaimed in frustration. Thornhill, stifling a yawn, added, "Well, don't say I haven't supported you. The IG-100 guard robots you requested have arrived. They will serve as your elite assault force. However, be mindful that the cost of each IG-100 is quite substantial." Without further ado, he ended the communication. A transport plane descended from the sky, its hatch opening to reveal 100 humanoid robots disembarking. These robots, with their sleek and angular design, featured piercing red electronic eyes and numerous flexible joints, indicating a level of agility and power far surpassing the B-1 combat robots. A moon engineer, responsible for delivering the robots, approached Grievous with an order form. "Please sign here, sir. This delivery was personally authorized by Chairman Thornhill. Developed by the Holowan Mechanical Engineering Company, these are the latest models. Their limbs are capable of performing nearly any action, with a reaction speed more than 3 times that of a human, and a maximum engine output of 10 tons. Their database contains an extensive array of actions from across the galaxy, and they possess the ability to autonomously learn new techniques and tactics." He gestured towards the high-voltage electric batons in the robot's hands. "These batons are crafted from frick alloy, impervious even to a Jedi's lightsaber. The ends can emit high-voltage electromagnetic pulses, making them lethal weapons. In my opinion, these robots could easily defeat a Jedi Knight." Vol 2, Chapter 320, Beacon of War Reignited. Grievous, with a tone of impatience and demand, declared, "More scrap metal? These contraptions had better be effective." His voice was stern as he commanded, "Activate the scrap metal." "Understood. The decision is yours. These IG-100 Magna Guards are at your disposal. However, I must remind you that the cost of a single unit is as high as 90,000 credits, an amount sufficient to purchase a spaceship," the Moon informed as the activation sequence for the robots commenced. The engines within the robots whirred to life, and the red indicator lights on their chests illuminated. A fierce glint appeared in Grievous's eyes as he barked, "Bring me those inept B-1 droids." Instantly, the 100 IG-100 Magna Guards activated their electrostaffs, leaping forward with a bound that covered more than 10 meters. They somersaulted through the air with agility, plunging into the ranks of the B-1 battle droids. With their electrostaffs swinging with lethal precision, they decimated the B-1 battle droids with ease. Amidst the chaos, a T-Series tactical droid, unscathed, inquired, "Sir, should the destroyed units be classified as combat losses or routine attrition?" "And you," Grievous shouted, pointing at the tactical droid. In a swift motion, an electrostaff pierced through the tactical droid's chassis. "I don't need a tactician whispering strategies to me. Even with the entire galaxy's battle data at your disposal, you're nothing but scrap on the battlefield," Grievous roared, his gaze then shifting to the Moon. He nodded. "Inform Thornhill, these robots will suffice. With your approval, I shall report back." "Thank you," the Moon said, presenting a holographic screen for Grievous to sign, before departing in a transport plane. "Now, follow me. Let's hunt down those who thought they could escape," Grievous commanded, leading the IG-100 Magna Guards onto Stap hoverbikes. They pursued their targets relentlessly, quickly overtaking the mercenary convoy that had previously eluded the B-1 droids. The IG-100s left no survivors, swiftly dismantling the entire convoy. The mission was clear: eliminate the guards, apprehend the debt-dodging merchants, and leave the recovery of debts to the Interstellar Banking Association. The sound of a communicator broke the silence, and Gross Shelbia lazily opened her eyes, nestled in Tang Xiao's embrace. She reached for the communicator, scattered among a mess of clothes and stockings, and glanced at the caller ID. "It's from Planet Hook," she murmured, planting a gentle kiss on Tang Xiao's lips. It seems the Mantis people are stirring trouble again. The depths of space are vast, yet it's sufficient to claim the remaining wealth of the Yamurai under the guise of reconstruction. Let the Kali handle their own vendettas, Tang Xiao remarked, his fingers tracing the contours of Gross's silky skin. Gross deactivated the communicator's projection feature and exchanged a few words with the caller. She then turned to Tang Xiao with a frown. Darling, the Yamurai treasury is depleted, and with unemployment rates soaring, many reconstruction projects have stalled. It appears the Yamurai are once again setting their sights on Kali, seeking conflict. On the contrary, after the Kali's withdrawal, the Yamurai found themselves unchecked. The fourth group's support for Kali, coupled with the reconstruction efforts, was meant to suppress the Yamurai ambitions. It was all to ease the burden on the Kali, Tang Xiao explained, shaking his head in disappointment. He continued, when the Republic forced the Kali to retreat, they lacked sufficient spacecraft, leaving at least 50,000 wounded soldiers on Planet Hook. These soldiers met a brutal end at the hands of the Yamurai. This incident has left a deep scar. The military spirit of the Kali people had been utterly shattered. Moreover, Grievous found himself compelled to enter into an agreement with the Interstellar Banking Association, leaving his homeland behind to settle his debts. Consequently, the planet Kali was left devoid of any semblance of resilience. Then, Gross, lying on Tang Xiao's chest, murmured, "Perhaps our most esteemed and sagacious leader could enlighten this humble girl with a strategy? The interests of the fourth group must remain unaffected, and we must immediately suppress any factors that could potentially harm us. As for the Kali people, their plight falls outside the operational scope of the fourth group. Rest assured, there are other plans in place for them." Tang Xiao responded, his voice firm, as he gently pushed Gross back onto the bed, emphasizing his point. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, on the planet Hook, the homeworld of the Yamurai, the consequences of exploitation by the fourth group under the guise of reconstruction were evident. While the fourth group had indeed rebuilt the cities ravaged by war for the Yamurai, it had also ensnared them in a web of crippling debt. A staggering 30% of each Yamurai's income was appropriated by the fourth group's taxation department. Furthermore, the Yamurai government was compelled to levy additional taxes on its citizens to sustain its day-to-day operations. Consequently, the majority of the populace saw their earnings vanish, leaving them to languish in their so-called luxury villas, surrounded by desolate gardens and empty swimming pools. Nostalgia for the days of prosperity, achieved through the plundering of other planets, began to stir among some Yamurai. Covertly, they embarked on expeditions in their spaceships, seeking to revive their fortunes by preying on neighboring planets. These raids were not officially sanctioned, yet they proceeded with the tacit approval of Yamurai officials, reminiscent of the Japanese pirates in another universe. Their spaceships became harbingers of doom for the less advanced planets that had once fallen under Yamurai dominion, leaving these worlds defenseless against the high-tech marauders. Given the remoteness of the wilderness space, the Republic paid it little heed, and bounty hunters and smugglers showed scant interest in this lawless expanse. Thus, the Yamurai, emboldened by their unchecked predations, descended into lawlessness once more. The beleaguered inhabitants of the targeted planets found themselves powerless, unable to afford the services of bounty hunters for protection. The resurgence of these raids not only brought relief to the Yamurai's financial woes, but also fostered a sense of impunity among them. While officially denouncing plunder, the Yamurai government covertly encouraged these ventures as a means to alleviate their fiscal burdens. Whenever confronted by the Republic, the Yamurai authorities would disclaim responsibility, attributing the raids to the actions of private individuals beyond their control due to their financial straits. This situation escalated when, in several cities that the fourth group had helped to rebuild, the disenfranchised and exploited Yamurai populace began to engage in violent acts against the fourth group, culminating in armed demonstrations. Volume 2, Chapter 321, A Strategy Amidst Chaos. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, on the planet Hook, the homeworld of the Yamurai, the city of Quay had been rebuilt with the assistance of the fourth group. The streets were bustling as a large number of Yamre, resembling mantises, took to the streets in protest. Armed with kitchen knives and sticks, they carried banners filled with insults aimed at the fourth group, surrounding the business center and hurling stones while shouting their grievances. Vampire merchants, get out of Hook Planet. Humans are despicable creatures. The fourth group, nothing but liars. The crowd swelled, their numbers growing as the demonstration continued. From afar, the scene resembled a moment straight out of Starship Troopers, with the mantis-like Yamre filling the streets. The business center's gates were firmly shut, with guards inside having set up laser fences to keep the demonstrators at bay. Behind these barriers, heavily armed guards stood ready, their posture suggesting they were moments away from opening fire, which somewhat tempered the crowd's fervor. To support the fourth group's office on Hook, Tang Xiao had ordered Matt Horner to lead the A Fleet in reinforcement. Horner quickly assembled a formidable squadron consisting of 5 Vengeance-class light destroyers, 10 Cobalt-class heavy frigates, and 20 Hammer-class corvettes, along with a transport ship carrying 1,000 Fourth Civilization Marines. The fleet's arrival served as a stark warning to the Yamrai government, which hesitated to take any rash actions against such a force. Despite the show of strength, the demonstrations persisted, encouraged by the Yamrai government's tacit approval. Even as the fourth group's guards sounded alarms, the protesters showed no signs of dispersing. Gross Shelbia, representing the fourth group, issued a stern warning to the Yamrai government, demanding an immediate end to the demonstrations or face the consequences. The Yamrai government, however, was in a difficult position. They explained that following a recent war with the Kali people, their race was significantly weakened, with scarcely any troops or arms available to disperse the protesters. They proposed a symbolic gesture of sending government representatives to kneel and apologize outside the fourth group's headquarters, but this did little to quell the unrest. 3 days later, with the situation unchanged, Gross Shelbia sought Tang Xiao's advice. Tang Xiao, who was training with Darth Plagueis in the dangerous jungles of Planet Loan, offered a cryptic solution after a brief conversation. Go to the Public Health Department, he suggested, leaving Gross puzzled, but determined to follow through. Gross contacted the Minister of Public Health, a renowned environmental and hygiene expert named Smith. Smith, a man in his 50s with a receding hairline and thick glasses, listened as Gross explained the situation on Hook and the governor's inability to control the protests. Mr. Smith, we're facing an armed parade against our group on Hook, and the governor mentioned, can you help us? Gross inquired, hoping that this unusual approach might hold the key to resolving the crisis on Hook. Gross lacked confidence in her proposal, believing that discussing armed marches with the Ministry of Public Health was utterly absurd. To her surprise, Smith responded with unexpected ease. Planet Hook, right? I've heard of it. Consider it handled. And by the way, instruct your office to prepare for flood prevention. Prepare for flood control? Okay, sure. Gross was baffled, but promptly relayed the message to the personnel of the fourth group at the Hook Planetary Affairs Center. The next day, Gross Shelbia received an update from the center that the demonstrations by the Yamrai people had ceased, and the clerks of the fourth group were coordinating the evacuation of Quay City. Perplexed, Gross sent out an inquiry. What did the Public Health Department do to resolve the demonstrations in just 1 day? The clerk's voice came through, muffled and hoarse, as if he was struggling to speak. Those madmen from the Public Health Department, they detonated the central feces collector in Quay City. Gross felt her head reel as if struck by a thunderbolt. The central feces collector had exploded? The realization hit her with the force of a physical blow. She recalled a meeting about the Yamrei's reconstruction plan, where Tang Xiao had casually mentioned while eating mushy chocolate, if we're assisting the Yamrai in rebuilding, we should do it right. They once dominated 6 planets and subjugated the local populations. For such a proud race, only the best living conditions will do. Villas, swimming pools, gardens, and of course, a central feces collector for sewage treatment. Let's not forget the landscaping and neon lights for nighttime aesthetics. Everything must reflect the grandeur of the Yamrai identity. At the time, Gross had overlooked Tang Xiao's mention of the central feces collector, not realizing its significance. Now, the shocking news that the public health department had blown it up was almost too much to bear. Fighting back nausea, Gross pressed for details. What's the current situation in Quay City? The clerk's response was grim. What do you think? The waste from the entire city's consumption over more than half a year was stored in that collector. When it exploded yesterday afternoon, we were all caught off guard. The sight, it was unimaginable. A veritable tsunami of waste swept through the city. The demonstrators were literally washed away. Thankfully, we heeded your warning and prepared for floods, or we'd have been swept away too. But Madam General Representative, why didn't you advise us to get gas masks? I've been sick all day. We're trying to evacuate now. I can't take it anymore, he continued, barely able to speak between bouts of vomiting. The whole city is still drowning in waste. Oh no, our office is leaking. No, it's leaking waste. We need to stop it. Stunned by the unfolding disaster, Gross realized one thing clearly. No matter what the future held, she would never again underestimate the catastrophic potential of meddling with forces beyond her comprehension, not even if Smith himself suggested it.